Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Rainbow Six Siege ESL Premiership powered by Intel and gaming from Curry's PC World. It's the final week of the group stages and we've got some cracking matches for you, and we will have the final standings and the seedings leading into those offline finals. I am Lethal and I'm joined by two usual faces. It is Demo and Fluke, and what matches we have today?
Boy, well, this is kind of what it's been bubbling down to, I would say, Fluke.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we talk about how much, I would say matters is a strong word, a game, there's only really one that takes the biscuit today, but at the same time, the second game of the night, I think everybody has been waiting for a while.
And it's not as if it's the most important one anymore, you know, it's really only to see who actually wins the league outright, but still, I would imagine both teams want to win.
Yeah, it's all about pride, but seeding's going to be very important as we talk about it further. But enough of this week. We're going to talk about last week's results a little bit just to see what happened there. And any noticeable results you've noticed from there apart from the Horus Coastline one?
Exilium, you have to talk about them. There's, you know, you think about the first 5 weeks. Exilium, 0-5. And they won last week against Demise, and at this current time that we're talking, Demise have actually disbanded. You know, they've exploded, so they've definitely have one more week to play out. But for Exilium, man, the fact that they still have a shot at going into playoffs, it's surreal to actually think about that a team who looked like the worst team that we've kind of had in Prem is now on the verge of actually being able to overtake Wind and Rain, who has such a great history inside this league.
They're my guys. They're my Cinderella story, and I'm over the moon that they have taken their first win. They obviously got very bitterly close a couple of times, and now it's down to this game. And whether they've been tweeting stuff that's true or not about how they're going to be playing tonight's game, I guess we're going to have to find out when we actually start watching it. But my heart is riding with them, as I assume a lot of chat is tonight.
I'm sure it is. Exilium, you know, they're not the best of starts, but we saw them improving week by week, and they've really shown what they can come up with now. And, you know, a little bit late, but they managed to get the first win on the board, but that's going to really help them, because if they take this next one, they could stop Wind and Rain from going into the playoffs.
Hey, we never have had a Cinderella story inside of Prem before. This is our first one, and I really want to see it come true.
It is possible, but as you can see from the standings, most of it's pretty set in stone. So for a lot of these teams, it will be based on seeding, which is quite important considering the circumstances when it gets to those finals. But as you can see, we do have Na'Vi versus Secret later on, so that fight for #1 seed will be very important for them. But of course, on the other end of the table, it's Exilium's opportunity now to try and grab that last playoff spot. But now we do have the tickets for the finals, which will be on July 27th at the venue, and it is the venue. That is the name. Don't you worry about that.
Is it really the venue?
It's
the
venue.
venue.
Keep in mind, guys. Also, if you buy a ticket, you get to have your own Doki. We've actually started cloning them because they're that small to produce. So you do get your own pocket Doki, guys, to walk away with. It is actual, real life size. So definitely make sure you get your ticket.
It's a bargain.
Yeah. That is a bargain, of course. Make sure you go to esl.im/R6S finals to get those tickets, because you don't want to get left out on that. And it will be a great final because we've already got 2 guaranteed teams already. There'll be 2 more going for the playoffs. So, and it's the playoff spots which are going to be very important, especially if Exilium actually make it to that point.
I'm just excited to see the whole best of 3 in the playoff, I think, more so, and the fact that we also have overtime, Flook.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we kind of look back to the last LAN, although it was best of 3, we often saw it ending with 2 maps. But I think with the way that these teams have been playing, how tight this season has been around the mid-table, I'm very excited to see how these guys actually come to fruition in this best of 3, and when it actually kind of boils down to, okay, you've done 1 map, do it again.
Yeah, and especially whenever you kind of look at the track record that teams have went in through with the whole, oh, you play this week, if you played this map, then that's automatically banned for next week. You know, I've kind of looked at some of the map bans that teams have went for. There seems to be a bit of a pattern forming in terms of what maps are being banned out, and constantly being there. I think that a couple of teams are saving those for the best of 3, trying to keep some strategies up their sleeves. Is that something you think, Flook?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, because we can kind of map it across the entire season so far. Exilium, as you were saying before, they've only really played about 3 different maps.
Yeah.
They've, you know, not been very deep. We know that teams at this point who know that they're in these playoff situations are holding maps. They know that they're going to be trying to stretch their strategies and stretch their plays, and that's across the board. That's for your big teams like Na'Vi and Secret, but also for people like Horus, who are going to be potentially making their first appearance throughout all this.
Yeah, that's a big statement to say as well, only 3 maps, so you don't know what they could be saving for those playoff spots. But let's take a look at some of the plays from last week and see what we come up with from there.
Keenan now taking a more aggressive stance, just trying to make something happen for his team. Tank Ninjas is going to be planting the bomb, but no, gets denied. Leon comes through with a double shotgun kill, make that a 3rd. How does he pick up a 3K with the shotgun like that? Nobody knows. This is looking pretty good for Team Secret at this moment in time.
Leon, 4K. Penguin gets an early kill. Feral off the board. That's the Scorpion gone. Oh, resulting in a quick rush from T3H, but it has been stopped momentarily. Giddensy drops in from behind, but they're already inside a kitchen. A 1 versus 3 for the SES operator. One more. He doesn't know there's going to be another one behind him. C4 gets tossed out. Could this be the double? What? Yes, it is. Leon Gids. What a clutch!
Look at the angles being opened up there through the floor. Doki coming in with an aggressive spawn peek yet again.
He's gonna jump
Kendry
out.
with the C4 toss. It is going to connect as well. 20 seconds in and already it's a 5 versus 2. Doki's on an absolute tear. Is he going to find the final one? No, it didn't even look like he wanted it at that point in time. Kendry's going to be able to jump out, clean up that kill.
What is this?
Dowie finds one over onto Josh. We have had a player move into half wall now. Junica finds one in return over onto Pat. PX, what a headshot. Look at that for a 1-tap.
So this is going to be pretty tough for Exilium to try and hold only 2. PX taking the aggression to the attackers. Another one, triple kill for PX.
And we do have the results from the top plays from last week, and it is Leon's 4K with that 1v3. And not too much of a surprise there. He did a fantastic job getting that back. And even though he had the other 4K, that one was more mentionable in comparison.
It was a double C4 kill. It was a double C4 kill at the end of that. Couldn't have said it better than X did, whilst obviously you were losing your mind.
Hey,
I think.
hey, whenever he, you know, does stuff like this, it just kind of brings out a side of me I've never really seen before.
He did an accidental 360 before it as well, but I think that at that point he meant to do that because that's the power of Leon.
You know, there were some great plays. I think there was great plays. You know, I think the Leon 4K, I think we've seen that before from him. The whole Doki Kendry thing, I don't even know what was happening in that matchup. And honestly, I thought PX, you didn't actually get to see it on the observer feed whenever PX got that first kill with the 1-tap. If you go on his Twitter and look at the clip, my God, is it some... it's a slobber knocker if a shot really is.
I think that made you showing me that, and I was like, I have to see that again to actually realise what happened.
All he thought he was hacking at a stage whenever he seen it.
He thought he might have been a bit suspect.
Yep, exactly. That's how good it was. It was crazy.
Well, that's that's the thing about some of these players. If they're that good, they're suspect, then can't really complain. But of course, we do have all our feeds here. Make sure you follow us at ESL UK, and if you do have any questions for us, make sure you can hashtag ESL Prem. But of course, we do have others for you. We do have Facebook and we have Instagram, but don't forget we have YouTube, and you can go to esl.im/rainbow6 and to see exactly what you want to do from there. But it's this great stuff here now. Like, it's all about today with whole Exilium situation, who gets that #1 seed. There's so much to talk about. People may think, oh, it's about seeding, you may see little default plays, but it's just a taster of what we want here.
Well, that's it. I mean, obviously we saw how kind of blood-boiling chaotic last week was, and I think all three of us kind of think today's going to be a bit more of that. Today's going to be a bit more of withholding strategies potentially, but also kind of going, you know, all to the wall aggression. Obviously, the only game that's really going to potentially shake things up is this Exilium Wind and Rain on a grand scale.
Like, if you look at it, M&M, they still want to win this match, because if they win this, they overtake T4H in score difference. So there always is that you kind of have to look at and think, M&M, yeah, they want to get that 6th spot, because if they do, then they're going to face Wind and Rain, and at the moment, Wind and Rain, they don't look like the Wind and Rain we know. You know, it's definitely much more of a kind of mentality thing, I think, that Wind and Rain are struggling with. Their leadership roles doesn't seem to be implied enough as what it is. They did take a draw against T4H there on Monday night, where it was off stream, but still, a draw is a draw nonetheless. But I'm sure Wind and Rain, they probably wanted more from that.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a weird one, because, you know, it's not in Wind and Rain's hands anymore. It's now in Exilium's hands, which is going to be a bit of a weird one. But, you know, Exilium could be happy with that, but don't have to rely on Wind and Rain to lose anymore or anything like that. We'll have to find out exactly what happens from there. But the Na'Vi and Secret game will be at 8 PM, so it will be our second match of the day. But before we look into all those matches, we do have the Prem VP. No surprise, it is Leon.
Keenan now taking a more aggressive stance, just trying to make something happen for his team. Tank Ninjas is going to be planting the bomb, but no, gets denied. Leon comes through with a double shotgun gun kill, make that a 3rd. How does he pick up a 3K with the shotgun like that? Nobody knows. This is looking pretty good for Team Secret at this moment in time.
Leon, 4K. So for Tank, still has some smoke canisters, but hey, you look at Secret, they're already inside off Observatory. Feral doesn't move, though, doesn't make a move. Oh, there we go, Leon from the Maverick call. Tank was caught out. Penguin gets an early kill. Feral off the board. That's the Scorpion gone. Oh, we're seeing the quick rush from T3H, but it has been stopped momentarily. Giddens, he drops in from behind, but they're already inside a kitchen. A 1 versus 3 for the SES operator. One more. He doesn't know there's going to be another one behind him. C4 gets tossed out. Could this be the double?
What?
Yes, it is. Leon Gids. What a clutch!
And there was no surprise there, you know. That C4 at the very end just made it just that little bit more special, didn't it?
Hey, it was just Leon doing what he does best, and that is putting up the numbers, and well, he gets his Prem VP, which he has been searching for quite a while.
What a clutch. What a clutch.
Couldn't
you can't
ask
really
for more.
argue with it. Couldn't ask for more,
Yeah.
as you said. You know, he has been kind of gunning for it, and he's one of those players that when they kind of get on that roll, they just do the impossible, and he was doing it multiple times last time. The fact that obviously he was potentially up there twice in the kind of best moment listing just kind of shows the caliber of that player, really.
Yeah, he was literally on it throughout the entire game, which is not too much of a surprise there. But let's have a look at the schedule of matches today and just let everyone know. The first match, which was T3H versus Wind and Rain, it was already being rescheduled and it's already being played. That was a draw on CAF, which is why we said previously, now it's Exilium's opportunity where if they actually do win against M&M, they'll make it for that last playoff spot. But of course, we do have that match of the group stage, the one we've been waiting for all this time. It is Na'Vi versus Secret. But to be fair, most of these games are all but outstanding to watch.
We hope so. That's all we really, you know, ever ask from these players, is just to give us a good old bash and a siege.
Good old-fashioned fun time. I know, obviously, I think we've talked about how kind of important the certain game in terms of where people end up on the scoreboard and the seeding, but we've also got to look at the other games. Obviously, as we said, Demise has kind of fallen apart a little bit, and they're against Horus, who are bringing in a superstar player sub.
Yes, we will see.
We will reveal all a bit later on.
You up for some pancakes later on?
Oh, I'm
up
starving for some pancakes. Yeah, and then obviously we have the showdown where they're probably going to be hiding strats, because if you're in either Na'Vi or you're in Secret, you're assuming that you two are going to be the two teams yet again meeting in that final on that LAN stage. So who knows how that game is going to play down?
Who knows exactly. If I don't save strats, then we'll be questioned as to why. We expect them to play as default as possible, be a frag for us. We won't be too much of a surprise there. But looking into it now, it's go into our rosters to find out who will be playing this evening between both of these teams. We'll look at the Exilium side first. Would be Rum, Pat, Safers, Joshua Glitch and PX. And on the M&N side, we have Brox, Akalele, Nathan, Pi, and Alfie. And now, Dan, we'll go through the Exilium side first. They've been doing well leading up ever since last week, but they have been improving slowly but surely. But now they've got to a stage where, you know, they could make playoffs, but, you know, we have to see how they do against this M&M side.
From about week 4, that's whenever I've seen that team actually make a little bit of headway, you know, with, as you can see there, 7-5, 7-5 in their 2 games, and then finally they broke that curse. They managed to get themselves that win. But this is going to be a tough opponent. It's, you know, M&M who have kind of surprised us at moments. You know, that who knows lineup I keep saying every time I look at them, the more confident I am in them doing well inside of this current CG sports scene that we kind of have, you know, with Challenger League qualifiers looming. Then M&M definitely, I think, could make a good challenge for that.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, Exilium, for themselves, as far as the roster goes, is they've had Rum for, I believe, 2 weeks now, or 3 weeks, and they had him in the playoffs. They've kind of found a groove, and they've kind of settled him well into the team, and obviously Rum and PX, we're seeing what they're doing.
Hey, I remember whenever, it was after last week, whenever they won, they went in, I spoke with Tristan and the boys, and he said, I love it whenever casters think we know what we're doing. So if that doesn't give you confidence in what this team can produce, then I don't know what will. So yeah, pretty much they just play the game. There's nothing behind it. There's not a single thing. They just hope PX does the business. And to be fair, he's been doing that.
Oh yeah, he has been. But the next roster demo I want us to take it through is that strongly M&M one, which got newly acquired last week.
Yes, indeed, that M&M roster getting picked up. So we do have the Ninjas back in business. And, you know, this roster, I think, kind of speaks for itself. I think Alfie as a player, I think he can still really grow. I think there's a lot of potential for a player who I don't think nowhere near the full potential that that man can produce. You know, Pai's always going to be that looming threat that we always talk about, that main man for M&M. But again, a very solid lineup. We've seen No Thumbs, he did get dropped from the roster, and then they have... It means that they have to play with Acelele in this particular Prem season at the moment. Their other sub who, I think is Junica, he's Finnish. He's currently cannot play simply because of the rules don't allow him. So definitely the M&M lineup, they have, you know, had a bit of a mix-up, but still very strong core.
Well, that's the thing, and it's exciting to kind of see how these guys have come together. Obviously, they're battling around the middle of the table. We know that if they kind of take this, they'll move just above T3H, who have also had a very exceptional season so far. They're a solid team, and if they can find a bit of that groundswell today against Exilium, which are arguably, obviously, we've said, one of the teams that has struggled is a fair way of putting it. They could find themselves in a pretty nice setup today.
Yeah, it's a weird one, because with M&M it's more about seeding, but with Exilium it means so much more. They're going to go all out here, and of course they need to. It's their last game. Could be the final game of the season, depending on the circumstance of what happens in this match against M&M. But let's go for the picks and bans demo. I know you love a good map choice with the guessing game, and tell me what your first thoughts are.
I'm kind of thinking that we could maybe see Villa in the mix.
Maybe. I
think that could be a little bit of a stretch, simply because Exilium, they have not won it yet this season. I think they've played it twice. Consulate being gone, I think that's a good thing for M&M. Definitely, I feel that Consulate can kind of go both ways, especially whenever you look at the way Navi kind of played. Didn't look as if Navi had any structure. They were literally jumping out windows. That would have worked well. I don't know. I'd say maybe Villa. If not, then possibly a Coastline. Could be a stretch, though.
And what's your opinion, Flick, on that?
I mean, Exilium have pretty consistently banned out Coastline almost every single week. The other ones that they like to get rid of are Bank and Clubhouse. So currently it's the only third one that they'd like to remove. I would love to see them on Coastline, because as we said, I would love to see them play a slightly deeper map.
Yeah, and it's very frag heavy as well, though.
Oh. There you go.
Oh.
Cafe and Villa get removed. Exilium, for the first time, I believe, are taking us to Coastline.
This kind of seems as if it's going to be one of M&M's strengths, more so. You know, we've seen M&M play this map before. I still have to favour M&M just because, you know, they're higher at the moment in the table. They look as if they have much more of a structure, but maybe that little bit of unpredictableness from Exilium, where we don't really know what they're going to do, could help them in that scenario.
Maybe this is the map they've been saving for. All those weeks.
They've been saving the strats.
I hope so.
All
for their
weeks.
sake,
we don't have any strats apart from Coastline, which we dominate. This is potentially it today.
I hope so for their sake, because if it's not, then there is going to be a bit of trouble here. You know, I was hoping to see a bit of Cav, because Cav has been played technically
off stream,
just not on stream, and it is typical. The one time it's not on stream, we get Cav.
Hey,
typical.
Don't speak too soon. You never know what we could see tonight.
That's true. But how much in the bet is going to get played next week when I'm not here?
And a best of 3, probably
it's
still,
possible.
honestly, probably still unlikely.
Maybe. I don't know.
Give me a cafe secret Navi match.
You think Secret are going to play Navi on cafe? You're a funny one.
Don't know we had a Joker in, but you know, it's just one of those things. But let us know who you think will win this game. Make sure you head over to @ESL UK and you can vote for your winner in our polls to see who you think will take it. And I'll be very interested because, you know, it's a big game for Exilium, and of course at Eminem it's more about seeding, but we'll find out in due course in a few minutes. But that's enough from me. I'm going to leave it to you guys to take it away in our first match of the evening.
Well, look, here we go again.
Here we go again.
Here we go again.
The final week.
It should be a good one, I think, definitely.
I'm excited because Exilium, win or lose, they're always very fun to cast, and the same as with Eminem.
That says Consulate.
It does say Consulate.
So, have we messed up, or has production messed up?
Well, we've never messed up because we've only read production-based things.
I know.
We're going to pretend that Consulate's the right decision until we get told otherwise. Let's just Gridlock.
It's the right one?
It's the right one.
So, is that 1-0 casters?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, 1-0 casters. We'll take that.
Okay.
Consulate. So I was kind of... Okay, it seems to be that Coastline and Consulate were mixed up there.
Is there similar words?
Yes,
it's understandable that production might struggle.
I know.
Sometimes.
It's fine. Don't worry. We'll get through this tragedy that's happened. We're strong. We're strong together, Fluke. We are indeed.
Talking of strong, these bands. We're on Consulate. They've taken off the one kind of big flat...
First Gridlock I've ever seen.
Gridlock? Yeah, Gridlock
First
taken
one
off.
in history? Question mark.
Potentially.
I would say so.
I guess I can see how it would be a problem.
She's
obviously.
Strong.
Yeah, you've got those kind of two major staircases. You've got a slightly less major third staircase pushing up on the kind of server side. But then you've also got that lobby push as well, where if you throw those deep, you can kind of just rush plant that, which is a pace that we often see in the kind of these Prem matches.
The way I look at Gridlock for a map like Consulate, so the way that Gridlock is currently being played in the meta is, you know, yes, she's a 1-speed. Doesn't give you that flexibility, but great guns. That's another big thing that kind of helps Gridlock. She also has free armor, so if you're trading chest shots with a defender, you will win that just because you have more health. So that's kind of something that we've seen play, you know, teams like G2. They've been playing Uno as the Gridlock, simply because, you know, Uno, great aim. He can take those gunfights. He's always going to win because he has more HP. But for Gridlock, you're using those track stingers to kind of two ways. You can use it to, of course, cut out flanks, which makes a lot of sense for Consulate, because there is those 3 sets of staircases. And also, you can use them to mask the sound of you running in or going for a defuse. And for the basement, it's all about getting that defuse, and you have the smokes, which is a massive thing for a map like Consulate. You think about all the big long angles that you have in this map, maybe top floor, mid floor, bottom floor. There's numerous ones of those. So if you have the smokes covering the plant along with the stingers going off, making all that noise, how are you ever going to know that something's getting planted?
Well, that's it. And one of the things that I do obviously like about Gridlock, as you said, is the gun set, because LMGs have kind of gone through this resurgence recently where we're seeing, with that amazing scope that can be mounted onto that as an attacker, getting those angles, holding them, and pre-firing, which is just a role that she fits so well. It's amazing to see how these guys kind of run it, apart from today where she's been taken out of the
I like the assault rifle.
Really?
Yeah, I run with the assault rifle.
No, that's fair.
It's you know, no recoil.
Yep.
It's like a truck.
That's Gridlock for you. We start on the basement point. Obviously, Thermite is out of the equation. Maverick's still on there, but they've got Hibana just to kind of deal with the hatches. I'm curious if they're actually going to throw that towards the main garage wall instead. There's a lot of top floor hold here from PX and Co. Am I just misreading the point? Is the point...
It's garage.
It's garage,
yes.
yeah. So they've just thrown a lot. I thought for a second there it looks like a lobby hold, but no, they're just putting a lot on that top floor, a lot of rotations. Josh is up there with PX as well. Pat is there too. They're really playing this top heavy, and here comes a fast push from Isalele.
I like the Mute in this scenario because an operator like Lion, he has been let through the ban phase. Mute's a great operator for Consulate because there is these little tricky spots downstairs where you can elevate them, and that means it denies the drones coming through lobby. And whenever, you know, you see hatches being open for potential rotations, if PX starts to get pressured out, but more than likely, we know PX, the young gunner, he's going to take the fight, and well, he's going to start to get pressured by the sledge.
It's the fact that they've kind of slowed it down so much already. Here's the man hanging, and there's the opening. Frag PX tears one through. They know where he is at this point, and they're trying to stack up either side, but he's just going to try and survive and dig in for as long as he can. They're struggling to make their way across that front long desk there, and they're throwing impacts, and there's somehow not a second as Alfie stumbles and starts my own words, but is able to drop it as they finally get control of meeting. But there's Joshua Glitch with a double kill.
Long angles, that's what we talked about in the top floor, so many of them. And well, Josh, they found one, but they did not find him. And again, Pat, he's still upstairs trying to delay even more time. And at this stage, M&M, they are in disarray. They've lost their soft destruction, which we know is such a massive part in taking control of Garage, where you can go upstairs and try and sledge in. And, you know, look at it now. They have to defend the mid floor. Xaphius misses the shots, loses that gunfight, but again, I think the damage has been solidified so far from Exilium. This ranked playstyle that they've definitely adapted has paid off for them, Fluke.
Yeah, this is the kind of play that you go up against and you're like, why are there 3 of them on the top floor? The point is the basement. We could have just pushed. But no, it has completely worked in their favor. Nathan is in... Well, Nathan is no longer in a bit of a tough situation as Joshua Glitz rounds off that with a 3K.
So, we know for a fact that Exilium have no idea what they're doing. This is correct. So, the strategy that we went in thinking about this, it's now been solidified, which I'm quite happy about.
Hey, they might not know what they're doing, but they do it well, I think is the easiest thing to say. One of the things we did actually mention before we got into the game, for anyone that follows the team captain, Xaphius or Tristan, on Twitter...
We've heard a rumor.
We've heard a rumor from him where he did say that wherever he's gone to, he forgot to take his mouse. So he's currently playing with controller. Now, how much of we take with salt, how true this is, I guess we're going to have to find out. So we'll keep an eye on the aiming and the roboticness and the movement and the controller swing potential of Xaphius, bringing the Maestro, throwing himself down in a bit more of a defensive role here as we do swap to the secondary point. And this is the one where I talked about where, yeah, Gridlock can be pretty brutal to kind of push against this.
Definitely.
But they're sticking with the same line out here. They're sticking with the same loadout. They have those Capital bolts to try and push against the door. They obviously have the Zephyr. Nomad can be utilized very well on this map, but it's to kind of control the roamers, and you could never control Exilium on that top floor roam, it seemed. They were just forever all over the M&M push.
Right. So I look at Exilium and I kind of think, you know, they're trying to play as loose as they can. You know, don't give M&M room, because if M&M, if they have their setup and they're ready to actually execute on maybe top floor room clearouts, or maybe just simply walking in and trying to go for the plant, they're very strong at executing. So I think it kind of started from whenever PX got that first kill. You know, M&M tried to set up their crossfires. You had to try and get somebody in the balcony. It means that anybody who's inside the console office, they get picked off very easily from that window while you have Sledge trying to pressure. It kind of seems that M&M at that stage, they kind of rushed it a little bit. You know, maybe it was the Nomad jumping the gun at that stage, whenever maybe she should have held back a little bit more. But I think at this stage, M&M realized that Exilium, they're not going to hold anything back. They're just going to play as aggressive as they can.
If this works again for PX... No, okay, Capital's playing a little bit more safe now. He suffers the same fate. Ace Lele this time is the one that meets the end of PX, who yet again is dug in the same corner. There's someone else pushing against those double windows now, and they're just going to still try and hold it. He hears them and is waiting. The Hibana charges are going off against the back, but look how much utility is being used to get control of this room. Pat finds Pi, and it is just slowly falling apart as PX finds another PX with a triple kill.
And maybe looking for one more. C4 gets winged out, but to no avail. Exilium, a lot of them on low HP. Could we see the 1v5 clutch? Highly unlikely, as Nathan once again being left inside of the clutch position. So what can he do? He's at the front door. Maestro fires him with the Alda, but Exilium, man, just taking advantage of this aggressive play style. I don't know, like, there we go. Safest, flawless round for Exilium. I don't know what it is, Fluke, right? But whenever I see this Exilium lineup, whenever I queue ranked and I go against this 5-stack, I'm terrified because I've never beat them. Because they're just unbelievable at ranked, okay?
You don't know what they're going to do.
But this is the thing. They're unbelievable at ranked, but as soon as they go into ESL, they crumble, okay? I said to Josh, stop thinking about what you're doing in ESL and just play like you're ranked. Stop thinking, because they don't think whenever they play ranked. No. And at this stage, they're not thinking and they're winning.
It's like a group of children on way too much sugar in a bounce house. and there is no way to stop it. You just kind of have to trust that you're not going to fall over, but you can't. They are all over. They're in control, and you're along for the ride at this point if they keep this up. But they're setting themselves up for this top floor hold now. Obviously, PX bringing on 4 frags, but it's not that the rest of them are not doing work, because they are all more than happy to look for these firefights and look for these battles. And yeah, it's just stupendous to see. And as you said, you are familiar with this fear that M&M must be facing right now.
So M&M, they need to change up things quick. I don't know if do they need to take it slower, or do they need to take much more of an aggressive standpoint, try and fight fire with fire in that scenario, or fight rank playstyle with rank playstyle and see who comes out on top. I feel as if M&M just go, like, I kind of think back to their Coastline game. They were just rushing in, doing this crazy stuff.
Yep.
Why don't they do it here?
Well, that's the thing. So far, the first 2 rounds we've seen is very much trust in the process. They're going for that familiar Empire clear where you always start in admin and you make your way across. And yes, on that lobby point, it makes a lot of sense to try and get control of the vertical. That is a famously top-heavy point. But when they were pushing against the garage point, they threw most of the team up there, and because of that, they were completely caught out by the unknown aggression. However, if they had played a bit more aggression towards a more flat surface, pushed into the floor below with the nomads that they had equipped, maybe even go straight against the garage, they might have been able to pull Exilium away from this ludicrous hold that they had on the top floor. But well, here they are now, playing on the bottom of yellow stairs. Josh is rotating around. The diffuser is currently cold, left outside, and I think at this point, M&M are kind of playing, okay, well, we're losing these firefights. Let's not put our tactics in jeopardy. Let's try and get a frag or 2. Rum finds Nathan in the meantime, and then let's try and push against this point.
Pulse, a great operator in this scenario, can gain so much intel, but the Capitao gets the better of the Pulse. I've said it time and time again, Pulse, I personally think, is the best operator on this map. Probably tied with Nomad in that circumstance. He just gives so much intel. You have the destructibility with the Nitro Cell to uproot so many diffusers trying to be initiated. He's a great operator, and it is a bit of a shame that we're seeing him being lost this early into the round. And well, Exilium, they also did lose PX, that big fragger we always talk about. Off the board, oh, Rum, you're trying too much at this stage to try and get some frags on the board. Maybe just play back a little bit. You're the smoke. So it goes into a 2 versus 4. I say that Saphius responds with the LMG. Josh holding on to the angle. And he will down that Capitao. And I think it was the Thatcher in that scenario. Saphius just does not care about the angles. The last one is swung on in, but it is a 1v2. And this is where they can start to cook him in. And well, Joshua, he does that to a T. As Exilium, 3 rounds on the trot.
That is the famous dream team pairing of Sathis and Joshua Gliss have been together since day, is the best way of putting it. Now, one thing I would kind of be curious to see how it would work at this moment, and it's obviously down to M&M's preference around the playstyle, is a Jackal. Is a way to kind of monitor the way Exilium are playing, maybe get some footprints from a window, don't enter the building too much, because as far as the aggression goes so far, it hasn't been external. It's been, let's wait for them to enter, and then we'll tear them apart. Whereas if you kind of find footprints, make them uncomfortable, make them have to use their rotations, I think that might be just a way. And as I said, it's purely hypothetical. It could go horribly wrong. I would think about maybe swapping out Nomad for a Jackal just for 1 round and seeing if they can get a little bit more information.
What I could see happening with bringing the Jackal, sure, right. Let's say you pick up a footstep of Pat, for example. Knowing Pat, as soon as he gets pinged, he'll jump out the window and try and kill you. That's the kind of playstyle that they'll go with. You know, they literally just try and play off that ping. You know, 1 ping could go off inside of Piano. By the time you walk in the yellow stairs, he's already by the vending machine ready to kill you, kind of initiating that gunfight. We've seen that a couple of times where you can actually have the mind games with the Jackal in that scenario. It's a rough one for M&M.
Yeah.
They get to go for the attack in Garage again, which is definitely, I think, a pretty good one for the way M&M want to execute their attacks. They're missing the Thermite, which I think was a good ban from M&M whenever they go on the defense, because we know that Exilium, they're quite potent for bringing up the Thermite, but for a map like Consulate, it's pretty bog standard, but it is going to bite them in this round, I would say.
Well, that's the thing about the bans. Obviously, we kind of talk about kind of default bans. The only one out of this setup that's a bit peculiar is definitely Gridlock. Echo Valk. Valk you always see removed. She's too powerful for this map. That is just too much information on too many flat walls, whereas obviously Thermite for that kind of lower floor, and you get yourself a bit of security, and then potentially the push against the hard reinforce on the top there. It's common.
Looks as if we may see the quick push from M&M. Yes, they're already inside of the garage. We can see the Habana push straight in. Oh, great angles being held by M&M. This is the execution and the rushes that we've talked about. And this is where Nomad becomes in such a powerhouse of her own. So it's down to Josh Glitch, PX, and Pat. Josh, well, he's not looking too weary at the moment with only about 2 HP left, and the diffuser is planted. So this is where it gets tense. M&M, they hold the angles from outside. Oh, there goes one air jab, and there goes PX along with it. This is still all in favor of M&M. This is a tough one if Pat can do it all by himself, and he'll have to do that as Josh, he falls to Pi. Angles being held. The Nomad, I'm sure, will get him. Yes, it will be, and there's a quick pre-fire. M&M, that's what we wanted, Fluke.
Well, we called for pace. We said this is what you need to do, and hey, it worked very well. It was a good response. Maybe a couple of rounds too late, but I guess from M&M's point of view, you got to go, okay, we've found the Achilles heel now. We can deflate the bounce house and trap the kids inside and just get the diffuser down. And this is, it worked very well for them. They've got a couple of rounds to potentially bring themselves to a nicer balance before they split over to the defensive side, which, you know, with these bans, I would say it's still fairly even between the two teams. But here's the first time we're seeing a bit of a shake-up from the defenders, potentially, as Kaid currently on the 6th pick to Maestro. You know, I'm curious to see how it falls out now, because this is another point that you can move on fast, and there's Ash.
Yeah, and I know you kind of said, oh, from the way the bans have kind of went in the history of Consulate in terms of the attacker-defender, which one's favored. Definitely very even. It's very 50-50. The reason why I say that is you look at most of the defense, defensive bombs, should I say, they're very strong for defenders. You know, you have a lot of long angles that are able to be utilized by ACOGs that you have from Maestros, from Echoes, from Docs we see picked up a bit as well. But then you look at the attackers. There's so many strong operators on attack for Consulate. Nomad, a powerhouse. Thermite for the garage, so strong. Gridlock now kind of falls into that own. You also have the Blackbeard, who we know can always be a menace. There's a lot of strong operators that you can bring for the attack, so it does kind of balance out the strong defender side of stuff with the ACOGs.
Oh yeah, and the thing about obviously operators like Blackbeard is I think what Consulate feeds really well into is differing playstyles. You can kind of have that hammer and anvil setup where you'll just put your Blackbeard on a window, you'll get the roam clear pushing the defenders towards the Blackbeard, and then they just cut that flank in half and cut that rotation in half. And you know, these are two teams where so far they don't really play with that playstyle, but it's the thing is this map complements almost every playstyle. Now here's a bit more pace from M&M. They're pushing up the bottom of yellow stairs. Prox is already in the back of the point, just running through. Rum finds Alfie, Prox finds Sathis, and Rum finds Prox. But look at the pace now as PX is having to rotate back. Rum finds another one. Pi! Deep from the lobby stairs, cuts a man in half, and it's just a matter of spinning around and killing another one.
Pi, my God. It's unbelievable. He's doing the trick shot, playing for FaZe Clan. So M&M now 2v2. They do not have the diffuser, which is the massive thing that Exilium have in their favor. Rum, a tricky spot, stuck inside of bathroom, but still no diffuser. PX will rotate above, has the hatch open. I'm sure he also has some holes available for himself. We'll try and peek on in, but doesn't see anybody. And there goes Rum. So now it is all down to PX. Oh, he will catch Nathan as he tried to sprint on in. And it's PX versus Pi, the two top fraggers for both of these teams. Let's see how this goes. Utility still available for Pi. Has one concussion mine, but the HP advantage is inside of PX's court. Diffuser will start to get initiated. Pre-fire shots come in, but still nothing. Plenty of time. But I don't think we're going to utilize all of that minute and 20. I'm sure it'll be finished off very quickly. Behind the bomb is where Pi will hold. Doesn't go for the diffuse. No impact grenades, so there can't be a connector made. Oh, tries to go for the pre-fire, still nothing, and there we go. PX cleans up house, an impeccable clutch from him. M&M, not looking too strong now.
Well, that game is accelerating. Yes, they were pushing fast. Habana was in that point before you could even blink, but at the same time, with the setup that they had, it was much easier for Exilium to collapse back onto that point. It's not 2 floors away, and yes, you can do that pretty quickly, but you're only a little bit above. You can still see straight down onto the point. If they're moving fast, it's a bit harder to do that kind of push, especially when you're not smoking your movement. We saw the diffuser carrier run straight in, and we saw them in broad daylight get cut in half.
I think the reason why the garage worked, and, well, that lobby didn't necessarily work, is because lobby has 2 hatches above that, which give access to both bomb sites in that scenario. Whereas you look at garage, there's no hatches that were open, available for the defenders to play off. They only had the piano floor in, and even at that, if you don't land that quick second shot whenever they sprint past the holes in the floor, then that's going to be a lost kill. In this scenario, you have that hatch to play around with. PX, he utilized that knowledge, and he picked up that important kill onto Nathan as he tried to sprint on through. It just kind of shows that different bomb sites for Consulate just cannot be played the same way as the others. You know, kind of like if you look at a map like Border, all of those bomb sites can be defended and attacked in the exact same way. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it's such a kind of top-heavy one where there's no really wrong loadout to bring for any of them. You kind of apply the same rules, the same strategies, obviously in different positions, but it's the same basic steps. You could have a manual on kind of a rough guide on how to assemble the IKEA attack against the points on Border, whereas that would not apply. It would still be in very much Swedish when attacking this map, because there's so many different ways, so many different methods of kind of breaking this apart. They've gone back to their early push because they assume it's a CEO hold, it's a top floor hold, because Exilium have a habit of consistently rotating between the 3 points that they want, and at this point, it's not. They've gone back down to the basement. They're going to play, obviously, with their aggression on the top floor, slightly less men up there. PX and Josh are the only 2, and there's PX opening the frag against Pi. A big take as the Sophia suffers instantly.
This man just gets better every single time, and the Exilium, they're just piling on the kills. Another one falls for M&M. Pat, as the bandit he was roaming about, does pick up that frag. PX again being pressured on the windows. Nobody's repelling this time. It's much more standard on the balcony. Even more flashbangs come in, but he wins it against the Thatcher. Another one comes in. Doesn't have enough ammo in the T5. And the Ash R4C will overpower the Legion.
PX is having an absolutely ludicrous game, but they still have so much to do, this Nomad and this Ash. Joshua is going to try and hold Console for as long as they can before dropping out of the way. The diffuser is obviously cold on the ground as well on yellow stairs, so they have so much left to pick up and move on. Acelele at this point is just looking for clear, looking for aggression. Nathan is going to set up those Nomads on the opposite side, make sure they don't get looped in on again, because that is always a fear with Consulate. There's these big rotation possibilities and big ways to catch your attack completely blindsided. One thing they do have in their favor is the amount of time, but that is slowly ticking away, and when it's just down to droning a team like Exilium, you never know why they are where they are.
So, M&M, no utility, no nothing. You literally have to play off sheer gun skill. Breach charge does get sent in, but that means they don't have it for the flooring. Josh pops out of nowhere. 1 kill for him, pulls out the pistol, but misses the shots. Nathan using ARX 200 will be enough to put him down, but still, once again, Nathan in this position time and time and time again, and I feel as if it's going to be the same story.
Well, Sathis is just holding the angle at this point. The smokes are going out as well. They know he's got to push from yellow stairs. He has no other options at this. The hatch is hard. You don't have the time to rotate to the other side. At this point, the smoke's just going to hold it. And there's really, really nothing that Nathan can do. It's surely the 3rd smoke canister is about to pop over the heads. I've only counted 2, but I might have missed one. Here's the barbed wire. At this point, it's saving AWP, I would say. There's no heroics that can pull this off. You might drop the team captain, but Pat is there to cover the dying man.
If you're a Wind and Rain fan right now, or a Wind and Rain player, probably feeling pretty hot.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's worrying. Obviously, your game happened off stream. It pulled out as a draw, but This Exilium are ferocious. They are flawless so far. They are, you know, they're bringing their patented aggression
The ranked playstyle.
that other teams just don't know how to deal with.
It's kind of like watching 5 Leon Goods.
It's 5
in
Leon
essence,
Gids.
isn't it?
It's 2 different languages. It's you're trying to apply mathematical theorem to science, where science you combine 2 things and you have no idea how it's going to go, and that's from 5 players. Maths is always an answer. M&M are trying to find answers in what is just them throwing 5 chemicals together and seeing what comes out of it.
It's kind of like PX says, okay, I'm going to sit here, and then Josh's like, all right, I'll sit here then.
Yep.
Oh, if you want to sit there, then I'll sit here. There's a tweet coming in.
Emerald MMA?
Yeah, Mike
Big
Rodriguez.
Guy. Gotta love him.
PX has that top floor on lockdown. Indeed he does.
PX is just a terrifying force. I remember the first couple of weeks, obviously, PX couldn't play because he hadn't quite turned 18, and that was the big thing. They were like, oh, we'll be fine when PX shows up. Obviously, they were slightly not fine for a couple of weeks, but now you see PX in full swing with all the support of rabid fragging underneath, and it is just a sight to be seen.
I think that a lot of people forget how gifted we are as a region, have so many great underage players for them to then turn of age. It's crazy.
Yep.
You know, and it really does show. You look at, you know, like the M&M lineup, Pi, he's 20, so young, so talented. Prox, again, 20 again, so young, so gifted. Exilium, PX, turned 18. You have players, of course, like Leon Gids, 19 years old. Doki, 20 years old, might be 19, not sure, forget. Young, he looks about 5 anyway, so does it matter? No, it doesn't. Citizen, 19 again. So many young, talented players we have. Kendry, 19 again. That literally the entire M&M roster is so young, and it just shows the power we have as a region. And guess what, Fluke? There's still more underage players out there.
That's it. They're all going to keep coming up, and I think that's one of the best things we see is this scene gets tighter and tougher and more aggressive as Siege has grown. And it's one of the best things about why the community and why the comp scene has grown so much is because younger players are picking up the game with adults' permission, I assume, to be playing the game at home. And then they're finding their groove, finding a bustling and growing comp scene, and it allows players like PX, who yet again is causing issues now on his attack push.
How many kills is he on, Alex? How many kills? What we got? 9 and 4.
It feels like more. He's on 5 assists as well.
It's only been 6 rounds.
It has only been 6 rounds.
You know, give him some slack. But I think that definitely with the R4C in his hands, this is where he becomes PX.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those players that is a terrifying Ashe player. Sathus is having a bit of trouble with the concept of windows.
He was dolphin diving.
He was dolphin diving a window and trying to get that man out of the top of yellow, but it's always a tough place to dig someone out of. It's kind of the old traditional hold against this. Cover it with barbed wires, cover it with ADSs, and then just leave them in there for as long as possible. Here comes the combined push with Capitao pushing forward for PX to try and frag across the top. They have potentially the frag grenades in a second once they finish burning ADSs, but as far as they're concerned, the man is still there. PX is still looking as the tip of the spear for a kill, but Josh finds Prox in the meantime, and they are still stacking on these yellow stairs, looking for a way in. Rum is on the windows, ready to swing, being completely eyed by a Solele on the Maestro, pre-firing the ankles, but they're just holding, they're not pushing, and you know, all eyes are on this side right now, and I think at this point, Exilium needs to slightly diversify their push, find another way, or just wide peek PX.
Nathan, Duck, MP5s, as we talked about, where ACOGs have such a dominant role for the defenders on a map like Consulate, with all the long angles you can gain to your strength. And here comes the swing in, so the diffuser will try and be initiated by Rum, but the shots rattle on out, and it is literally down to Rum and Saphius. Oh, he just runs in like a madman, and well, he will be punished by Nathan. It's down to Saphius, who tries to swing in. That was looking so good for Exilium, but they choked up at the final foray.
Yeah, they just couldn't get up those yellow stairs. They managed to do everything to break it apart, but the fallback and the hold from M&M was actually very, very good. It stumbled them, and they just weren't confident enough to keep rolling in because we saw the amount of utility that ended up being thrown against someone that wasn't even there at the end of the firefight. They took out the Jaeger very quickly, they dropped Pi, and from then they should have, as I said, diversified. Have a look around at what's going on. You're in a 5 versus 3 situation. You have a 2-man advantage. Utilize that. Don't throw everybody up through the same choke. Well, we see now the Cafe and Garage hold. Maverick currently on the board for the first time. It's always going to be a good way to try and get into that Garage wall, which is, you know, for some teams it is the most important thing. That's a good 90% of teams. Obviously, you can kind of push against the other side, but instead they're going to go for the old-fashioned Thatcher combination instead of trying to burn out that Bandit first, get that open with the Hibana, and then dig their way across. Obviously, Thermite being removed makes this a much slower process. You're going to have a bit more control, a bit more cover, and Piano's going to have to be something in your hands as well, but you know, we'll see if M&M are going to dedicate as much top floor or second floor control as it seemed Exilium thrived in.
Again, we don't really know what Exilium are going to do for the Garage. If I'm a betting man, we can see one or two things. We can see the rush, which I'm kind of swaying towards more, or we could see them just take mid-floor, back open, and then try and go for the rush. So there is options here.
Yeah, I mean, they're a hard-to-predict team. It's...
You think? Really?
It's
no way.
Throwing darts on a dartboard and seeing what comes up. But it works for them. They're already putting pressure against Nathan towards admin. They're just popping bullets through the window, whether they know he's there from droning. You can always assume you want to get that cleared off because, as we said, this is a very flat map. This is one where you can do jump outs, can do quick rotations as well. We saw that last week from Na'Vi, who expertly demonstrated how terrifying running out on this map can be. So you've got to always be cautious and always be aware of this. But they seem to have a little bit more, well, comfort as Joshua just shuts down the run out from the bottom of yellow stairs, and they're going to start cracking open that bottom floor. And they're kind of at this point wanting someone to pull out. And it looks like Nathan has actually dropped all the way back down to point. Suffered a very minimal amount of kind of pressure. Oh, no, he's not. He's playing back to the top of yellow, but he's completely forgone the other side of the map.
So it definitely seems to be that Exilium are going to try and go for the mid-floor, kind of take the, could have been an option for them where they try and get Pat in, open up the flooring, makes life a hell of a lot easier for players like, you know, Safis and Ram trying to walk in and go for the defuse. Have we still solved the mystery of Safis' Xbox controller yet?
No, we haven't really seen him in too many firefights. We saw him struggling with a window.
Nah, it's not an Xbox controller, no way. He's a liar. Yeah, well, such a bait. Such a bait. You think that's an Xbox controller? Not a chance.
Maybe the guy he's using an Xbox Elite controller. He could be with the interchangeable groups. PX opens the frag on Nathan. Finally pulls him back to that top floor and then cuts him out of the game. Starting to push against the big lobby main stairs. Worried about the rotations, but they have a minute 16. They have time to start digging down against this map. M&M are going for that fairly standard lower floor hold. They've locked off their angles, they dug off their walls, and they're just going to kind of dig in. And I can't say that word anymore, I swear, but PX are still droning. They're still kind of trying to put pressure in different places. They might not be massively aware of the man playing on the back stairs, but they will be now. And this is surely where PX is going to want to start fragging.
Yeah, it seems to be that Safis is going to be the man who's trying to up front and try and take on the sheer firepower that is the M&M defense as he tries to pressure in towards that yellow stairs. Nobody's picked up the fuser. Well, there we go. Safis just wanting to rotate and maybe have Rum play much more of a Trojan horse style where he just runs in, tries to make things happen. Oh! Ace through the flooring. Great stuff from him. That will send Pac back into the 16th century. And well, it goes into a 3 versus 3 with Safis and such low HP, but also is Alfie.
Well, PX has to start doing some motions now because he has the back, but there's only 10 seconds, and no, Prox had that completely covered with that MP7, and now it's just Joshua Glitch and Sathus. The Dream Team pairing, can they make magic? Finds one Joshua Glitch, Alfie finds Sathus and finds the second as well. M&M win their second defensive round in a row, their third of the game so far, and it seems like Exilium are starting to run out of sugar.
For the second time in a row on their attacks, they've only had 2, they were in a 5 versus 3 position and they lose.
Yep.
This is worrying. This really should now, if you're Exilium, this is where you really need to put an end to this momentum that M&M are currently gaining. We've talked about it. If M&M have a couple of rounds behind them and the wind's in their sails, my God, are they fast at clearing up house.
Yeah, they lock down on that momentum. They're very, very good at kind of getting a bit of control. They've used the half-time brilliantly. When you're in a 5-1 situation, it is never easy, especially when the rounds have kind of been going the way they were, and yet here they are. They're losing the opening firefight and the second firefight, and yet it doesn't shake them. It doesn't throw them. They lock down, they keep themselves in the game, and it is turning into them just kind of going, okay, Exilium, well, you've still got to take the point. Like, it's not all just about killing our Roma. You've got to actually play the objective sometimes. And it's where Exilium is struggling.
So we move in to our mid floor, and it kind of seems to me that M&M are looking to try and play with these ACOGs. You know, whenever you're seeing 3 of them picked up, they're going to try and use and abuse those angles.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones, it's, as you said at the very beginning of this game, it's a long angle map. You can hold very peculiar, very tight places. I remember I once cast this with an American caster, and they were kind of blown away by how Europe plays this map and how we do throw these long angle fights up, because it's kind of one of our trends on Consular, is these kind of long battles, and you can see already Nathan's kind of setting themselves up on the top of the stairs. Prox is pushing and peeking as much as he can on the opposite side. They're looking for these actions, looking for this battle against Exilium, and taking the wind out of, putting the wind in M&M's sails is a very big thing, but taking it out of Exilium's sails could be even bigger, because when those guys start to suffer, it really unfortunately shows in their gameplay sometimes.
They will attempt to go for the upstairs, and I don't know, it seems to be that Exilium are trying to think. I don't like it whenever they start to think, because whenever they think they lose, and that shouldn't be the scenario. Keep in mind, Fluke, we've seen Exilium chuck a 5-whatever lead before, where it was against Horus, and Horus pulled it back on 7-5. You know, we've seen this happen to Exilium. That's mental block as soon as they switch over, and they just stop in their tracks. They have such a good first half, and then second half just falls short.
I think it's the image of the together apes strong, I think, is the one that's coming to mind. But we want to see them kind of roll in on those frags. They've obviously got one down already on Pi. Prox is going to rotate out there instead of going for the revive as PX clears across. Oh yeah, he's been brought back to his feet. Alfie finds Josh in the meantime. It's the first time they've got the opener, but PX finally shuts down Pi. Stops the man who was once revived as Pat starts to clear across the lobby. They haven't done a full top clear push. Doc is still buried in the top of yellow stairs, and Nathan tears him across. Rum finds Prox in the meantime. It's many different firefights in many different rooms currently on this map.
I'm surprised PX wasn't ready for that angle. It's the same one that Exilium use in their defense. If it works on the enemy, shouldn't it then also work on us? We should be ready for that kind of things. So Exilium, they start to stack up in towards the spiral. Nathan below, quite an interesting position for the Doc, but then again, we've seen Doc play as a kind of roamer-esque before, and definitely that can pay off whenever he has the MP5, that great rate of fire. All it takes is one headshot. But at the moment, Exilium, they're slowing down. Safest, he's also below. Could we see him sneak up spiral and try and take the fight against the Doc? I don't know, it could be risky, but he could be leading that way.
Well, it's the only thing I could really think that a Sledge would be doing underneath the point anyway on this.
Sledge him, sledge him, sledge him.
Didn't want to. It would have been the greatest clip of the season, Sathus, but at the same time we understand. Sometimes the team captain, you got to make those plays properly. And you'll maybe have a chance to do that when you potentially get to playoffs, as Rum goes for the plant here. Smoked out in the corner,
no!
They peek round the side and just stop it at the last possible second. Acelele finds another, and Sathus is looking for something, but cannot lock down either of them.
Ah, not again. So close, yet so far for Exilium. So now, if you're a Wind and Rain fan, you're probably doing a little dance.
Yeah, this is many sighs of relief happening in the Wind and Rain camp at this moment in time. But Exilium, they're just, they are getting so bitterly close. And I know I've said it once before watching, where towards the end of a game with Exilium, you kind of start to watch between your fingers.
It's just not like this.
Yeah, and you you want them to keep this momentum, but they often have, their biggest problem is often themselves. They get into their own head. They doubt what they're doing. You can see it, and I think it's most notably, I would say, in PX's gameplay. PX, as you said, he completely missed the look. The comfort that he was having when he was fragging on the defense compared to how he's playing Ashe right now. He's only got 2 kills since we last saw him at the turn of the half. He's not moving with the same kind of briskness that we've seen before. You know, they need that fire.
What I see from Exilium is on their defense, they were set up for crossfires. They were playing like a team. Why aren't we seeing that? Why are we only seeing PX move in by himself? Why are we seeing Pat only move in by himself? Saphius only move in by himself? Why are they not pushing like a team? And we've seen this before. You know, where Exilium, they start to drop some rounds, the heads start to go down, and they just don't care anymore.
Yep. I think that's one of the big comments about a ranked playstyle, is on defense, you can kind of get a bit more leeway with the famed ranked playstyle because you've at least got 30 seconds to set up some semblance and you do have a core to defend. On attack in a ranked playstyle, you just have a map that you're pushing. As soon as you drop communication, as soon as you drop cover, and as soon as you drop teamwork, you arguably drop rounds and then drop the map. That's where you suffer with this playstyle. And as we're seeing, we kind of need Exilium to find a little bit of that groundswell to go, okay, let's push this as a unit. Let's set up these crossfires, as you said. Let's set up this team play that we know that they can do and see them actually do it. In the meantime, M&M, I would say that their gameplay hasn't really changed across the 2 sets of rounds. I think their attack was, they were just suffering at the hands of the ludicrosity of what was going on, but their defense, where they've got a bit more control of the map, they've got a bit more control of the pacing, they're giving themselves much more kind of leeway in the rounds because they're kind of letting Exilium, you know, give themselves enough rope to hang the rest of the round on.
All I want to see from Exilium is for them to have 1 guy in B windows, 1 guy in bathroom windows, and 3 guys pushing up yellow. That's all I want to see, just the aggression. You know, they literally could have had it done by now. The round, that was it matched. But they're not going to go for that playstyle. They're playing it much more slower, but still going for the same yellow stairs. Nobody in bathroom window, which I question if you know that that's a popular angle. M&M play, oh, the aggression. Oh, the C4 gets shut out mid-toss, and well, Pai will be able to go for the revive before, no. Want to make sure Prox gets himself that kill, but Pat does refrag with his own shock on the skeleton key. But Exilium, they have the lead, but we've seen this before. They have the lead and then they lose it.
Well, they're trying to blow that man out of the bathroom. Just doesn't see it in the kick-up of the rubbish. There's the second grenade, an unfortunate time as Nathan reacts very well. The doctor is in the bathroom and manages to also heal up Acelele as well. Exilium, they're back on even peggings. There's 45 seconds. It is a familiar scene that we see yet again as Joshua is going to be the third to potentially throw themselves to what has become the absolute firing line of this bathroom. As you said, having someone on that bathroom window, it would give you the control, and there it is yet again. Worried about utility usage, Nathan just peaks at a very good time and just tears another one apart. They're 1 man down, there's 20 seconds left on the clock. Nathan is still holding this angle as another one falls. That is the 3rd to the same way. You cannot let that man keep doing that.
I just sigh. Is that a word? Can I just go, you know, little star sign, sigh, star sign?
Yeah.
To like show my emotion? That's how I feel.
Yeah, it's...
At this stage, yeah, you just did it there right now. So at this stage, if you're Exilium, you know for a fact M&M are setting up the exact same way they did. You know, they have that guy in bathroom. Why do we not have Saphius on the bathroom window? Saphius was outside of double window, droning. Why are they droning whenever it's a top floor defense where all of the positions in that top floor are so predictable and it should just be like common sense, like driving a car? You should know exactly, okay, there's always going to be a guy in connector. There's always going to be a guy in bathroom. Why do we need to drone it? We know where all the angles are going to be situated. They needed to have Tristan on the window with the grenades, because you think about it, how much utility was burned up, getting rid of those ADSs. It was literally free real estate to get a frag kill.
PX is now, for the first time, bringing Capitao, and I think for me that's a welcome change, because again, that would have been something that would have been very useful in pushing against the corner. Hasn't had really any success on Ashe so far in terms of what we know PX can do on the Ashe. Only, as you said, 2 frags across all of these previous 4 rounds. it's nice that this is where they're shaking stuff up. Yes, when they've been trying to use utility, we've seen them drop a couple of frags there with the Nomad, or drop a couple of lives there with the Nomad, there with the frag grenades as well, but you know, bring yourself a bit more control. Be able to push M&M out of the positions, because as you said, if they're not going to be taking control via windows and they're going to continually try and slam their head against the wall and hope they find a crack, at least bring a harder helmet to do it with. And that for me is Capital's Bolt. But here we go for another admin push. Going to try and take out Nathan. PX is currently playing on the lobby windows, but Nathan isn't stupid enough to fall for that. Joshua is going to cover the rotation, and Nathan actually does rotate out as PX goes for a different set of windows, has fallen all the way down to this basement. And this is something that we've seen a lot of M&M. They have been playing very reserved. They've been very, you know, it's like bunny rabbits. They just want to pull away from any confrontation. They don't want to throw their lives away too early, but then at the same time, we'll probably see Nathan rotate back up in about 20 seconds to just eat more time, eat more of the attack.
Reverse sweeps are something that we're not uncommon to, especially in the Prem. You know, we've seen it before whenever actually M&M, they played Team Secret. You know, we've seen a reverse sweep happen from Team Secret before on this very map against them. And, you know, with the new, I wouldn't say new, but the whole way replay, 6 rounds, then you switch, that does open up a whole lot of, okay, we went 6-2 up in defense, we can also do that. And this is exactly the same scenario. And the way things are going for M&M, it's looking so strong. We've seen the first blood come in from Exilium, that was smoke gone, but the C4 is a retaliation, and that's your buck. So the soft destruction, that's a massive hit, unless Nomad or Thatcher brings breaching charges, which I highly doubt that either of them would. Actually, we do see someone, Josh, but he's not in the position to do so. He's trying to cover flank. So there is nothing here that Exilium can utilize. So that pipes area, which is the big thing, which I think he should have bucked, is now safe.
Ooh, sees the backpack of a Maestro, but Maestro, for the 3rd time, I believe, has gotten a kill through the floor there, or through his roof. The Sathis is just going to have to dig via bullets. Yet again, they're at a man disadvantage here. They're struggling to dig out the man behind the reinforced shield, looking for any give and any hope, but instead accidentally just puts bullets into Josh's leg. Josh has rotated round with the hard destruction. They have obviously lost the Capital and lost the Buck. 2 very good control operators. Going to try and nomad it, but it's very hard to get it through those railings because it's just a little bit too thick. There is still one directly underneath. They're consistently looking like angry fish trying to get the fisherman upwards. But it's 13 seconds, and unfortunately, it is a familiar position we find ourselves in.
And that's it. That is it for Exilium. That's their season. They're relegated. They're into the relegations. They need a win. That's the only thing that could have gave them the out. So that means this will either end in an M&M win, which does then excel them over from T3H. So still a lot for M&M riding on this match. They want to make sure they can finish out this clean as a 7-5 with that reverse sweep, which would be a 6-0 in that scenario. But yeah, Exilium, they're done.
It's a sad story to see. But, you know, obviously... Hey,
congrats to Wind and Rain.
Yeah, it's congrats to Wind and Rain. Obviously, they have now made it, Wind and Rain fans, and I assume the players. If they're watching, you can take a sigh of relief. You're in the playoffs.
It's like watching a horror movie, wasn't it, for a minute?
Wow,
and then
that's
finally the killer dies.
Yes. But obviously, there's still the playoffs to have. Exilium aren't completely relegated yet. They do have to battle against the Prem promo teams. But let's round this map up first, if I remember how letters work.
It's a tough one. The English language is a tough one. Should we do Spanish? Should we do French? German? You tell me.
M&M, they have the possibility of moving above T3H, which would be very good for them. Obviously, we talk about, yes, Wind and Rain have made it, but compared to the other teams that we've generally seen playing in those kind of top spots, they have been the weakest one. They are the round difference, just from the round difference rather than point difference, 'cause the points aren't hugely, is they're -14 currently in 6th place, with Horus at this moment in time -7 above them. Horus obviously have 1 game in hand today. They can make that slightly smaller. They're against Demise, which are the bottom ranked team on -20, so that could be a difference that becomes a bit of a worry. But again, anything can happen in playoffs as we go in for this final round for Exilium this season. And M&M have one more just to hold out here.
M&M, where they will again bring up those AAA cogs from Maestro, Rook, and Doc alike. Double French. Always like seeing a double French. Probably one of my more favorite compositions to kind of see, but you do leave yourself at much more of a deposition in terms of utility. But on a map like Consulate, where you're definitely playing for the frags, it pays off.
Well, there's that long angle. Nathan, just from long desk, tears one apart. PX obviously suffered from an outside peek as well. Josh has dropped off the face of the round. This is M&M. They're shaking it up for this last round. They know that they've pulled the draw. They know that Exilium are in a bad headspace, and they're just kind of playing it now. They're going to that ranked play style. They've done exceptionally well to manage to pull themselves back from a 5-1 deficit, because it doesn't, obviously it's the turn of the half. There are maps that we can say are favored towards defense or an attack, but M&M, as I said, they've never stopped kind of beating the same pace and the same rhythm. They've been very good to weather a terrifying storm and find themselves in a smoother sailing situation. And what a flick there towards the head of Pat. Reacted quickly as the buck popped around to that corner. It is a 5 versus 3 situation with 1:30 left. And weirdly, this is the strongest that we've actually seen M&M look throughout all of their defenses, which is a worrying thing for Exilium.
Yeah, M&M just piling on the bodies. Rum responds in, and look, top floor trying to be established. But again, everybody has rotated away from the top floor as they're all towards the bottom half of the map. And Pi does put Rum, and that's Diffuser as well. Saphius and PX. See what they can do. Can they conjure up a last hurrah? Doesn't seem to be a hurrah. Seems to be a very dead end. And PX, well, 1 versus 4. You're going to make your mark and Prem. This is it. This is how you do it, PX. If you get this 1v4, I don't know. It'll be definitely a miracle. Tries to push in, looking for anything he can. But the numbers are against him. Has utility, of course, with the fire arrows. Nice shot. Takes out the Maestro, but still more work to do. Swings on in. They know he's dropped. Toxic Babe misses, actually. Not the best place there from Alfie. Goes even farther down, and Pi holding that angle for him as well. And M&M, 6-0 sweep.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's a rarer seen thing to take all of the rounds in one half and bring yourself back from that death knell. But big congratulations to M&M, who have pulled that off. They move to 3rd place on the breakdown of the group standings and the leaderboard. And you've got to give them credit. As I said, they weathered that storm.
I actually don't believe it. I really don't. I had my questions ready. I was going to say Exilium, great defensive half, and going into it, blah, blah, blah. But 6-0, a reverse sweep. M&M didn't really need it. It's more for their seeding, but what a way to go out, though. It is bad.
It just shows that,
it's a
again,
shame.
like we've talked about, Fluke, if M&M have that momentum, who can stop them?
Yeah, as we said, that last round was their most comfortable. It was their most kind of prominent. And at the same time, you talk about momentum and you talk about your head and your heart in the game. And Exilium, unfortunately, when that ship gets rocked, it has an awful habit of sinking.
It's, I don't know, it's very sad, I would say.
I'm sad. It is.
still
It
love
feels
them.
bad.
I was really hoping that they could do it. I was really hoping they could do the whole story. It'd be great to see, and you know that story could have led into them winning playoffs. They go into Prem finals, and they win Prem. Not anymore. That ship has sailed.
Yeah, that Cinderella story is sadly gone from us. But talk to me a little bit about, I was to say about Exilium's defensive side, their attacking side. So, of course, as we saw from there, not one round taken. Clearly something major was at fault. Was there anything you both could take from this game as to just in general why? Because it must have been one major fault in their play which caused this.
I would say just one of the most defender-sided consoles I've seen.
Yeah.
There's only 1 attack win and
That's
then
the
11
thing.
defense.
And it was very different defender playstyles as well. It was just the attacks struggled to deal with each other as far as the teams go. Neither were responding well to what the other was doing. Obviously, consistently, Exilium were playing these madcap defenses, and we saw the one round that they won was a fast push. And that was what we called for, and that's what we said. And at the same time, Exilium didn't win any attacking rounds because they didn't respond well. They didn't hold those bathroom angles. They didn't hold the windows. They just didn't try and get a more solid control.
I don't know. It's a really hard match to really look at, where it was definitely a much more show of gun skill rather than strategies. I think that's safe to say. For M&M, now they have secured themselves that 3rd spot. So now they get to go up against Wind and Rain. So the preparation can start to happen for Tuesday. That's going to be... oh, that's going to be a match. I don't know. I definitely, if it was going to be Exilium, you know, versus T4H, kind of favor T4H, and they look very strong. But, you know, for M&M now, they have Wind and Rain to go up against.
I still can't believe it. You know, it's just one of those things, but, you know, we've seen it before when people get reverse swept, but just not like that in such an important game as well. Commiserations to Exilium, that does mean they will get relegated. I do feel sorry for them because they made such huge improvements. It looked so good on that first defensive half when they're up 5-1. Even Joshua Glitch at one stage was going 5-0. It didn't even like die until like the 4th or 5th round. It really looked like it was coming together, and we'll see them make that playoff to maybe go against a third place team. But sadly, it is not the case, but I'm sure we may see them back. But speaking of the Prem, if you guys want to get involved, make sure you get involved in our promo series. Now, if you want to do that, make sure you go to esl.im/promo series. There will be weekly tournaments where if you place in the top 4, you then go into a tournament where you have to play against also the 7th and 8th place teams in the Prem, so the 2 relegated teams. And then the top 2 teams from that will advance to the Prem. So if you want a gateway to get into the Prem, that is definitely the place you need to go. And with some of these teams, you know, you've seen the promo series a little bit. Have you seen any up-and-coming teams which have, you know, caught your eye a little bit?
I've been casting it every week, actually.
You have done,
I've
yes.
been solo casting it every week. Yes, I have seen, and yes, yet again, obviously, we see 4 teams from the previous Prem promo, which I also casted in this current season, having mixed results with 2 at the bottom and then the other 2 slightly higher in the table. But there have been a couple of teams that have started to catch eyes, started to make waves, and started to throw themselves. There's also teams that, I think STBN, that were only 2 points shy of being in the playoffs last season. They're back and they're starting to make waves.
No, they were in the playoffs last time.
Oh, were they in the playoffs?
Yeah, I knocked them out.
Oh, okay, yeah, there you go.
Oh, of course he would bring it out, but he's not someone else.
But
typical year.
It's good, and, you know, I think now Exilium and Demise, well, Exilium especially, they should start looking towards those games, because they're not going to be easy.
Hey, honestly, looking at it, I don't really think there could be a relegation team who could actually take down this Exilium, because keep in mind, this Exilium still looks like such a solid team.
Yep.
You think about it, in 3 of their losses this season, it has been a 7-5, so it has been really close. We've seen the potential from this roster. I think they should be back next season. I really do think they will be.
If they stick together, I reckon they will as well. I was thinking the exact same thing. We were talking about that because, you know, we've seen their strengths. Obviously, their weaknesses is their coordination, their attacks. But, you know, during the off-season, that's when they can actually work on it. But it will be going for a break now. But our next match is going to be the big one, Na'Vi versus Team Secret, and we'll have that in a few.
Thinks you can't get a last-second clutch? Watch this. Think he can't carry his team while streaming in high resolution? All the while recording a once-in-a-lifetime win? Watch this. Think leveling up only happens in-game? Watch this. On Intel Core i7, they'll rise to every challenge. Now it's your turn. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
God, that is absolutely stunning! They are the champions!
And we are back with more Prem action now, and it's our biggest match of the group stage. It is going to be Na'Vi versus Team Secret. We've been waiting for such a long time for this, and now the time has finally happened because we've got the boys back on the desk. And your first initial thoughts on this game? Because like me, like everyone here who's actually watching at home, this is going to be a slobber knocker.
Boy. This is it. This is the rematch, and I say rematch. Probably going to get another one at finals.
Yeah.
You would expect to see both of these teams in the grand final fighting again for the Prem Trophy, as it always kind of has been. You know, you look at last season. The tables have turned. Tables have turned. Last time, Na'Vi, they were the CL team. Secret, they were the Pro League team. What's happened? What's happened, Harry?
The opposite end of the spectrum now.
Yep, that's the thing. They have completely swapped sides. There's the two lineups. Is the coach name wrong there?
It could be wrong, but speaking of the lineups, though, we'll go straight into it with Toki, Citizen, Nello, Kenju, and Saves. Coached by Gog. It's meant to be Gig, but you know, someone might have put their name a little bit wrong.
Gog. Basically, guys, he couldn't spell his name wrong. Or he couldn't spell his name right, should I say.
Yeah.
Well, 3 letters is quite hard. 3 letters is quite hard.
For a coach. But, you know, these are two big rosters. Everyone is very familiar with these guys. Everyone has seen what they can do as individual players, and then as the absolute units these two teams are operating as at the minute. They've had matches before. They've had setups before. We're going to see them very soon, obviously, at LAN, we can only assume, but we're also going to see them now. The question is, what are they going to show us today?
Right, so keep in mind, Na'Vi, they have DreamHack Valencia this weekend. They will be attending that, so they fly out tomorrow to then get themselves settled in and then finally go into the tournament going into Friday. They have a tough group. They have the group of death. They have Lestream, well, now ex-Lestream, looking for Org, and they have Rogue. So a very prestigious roster going into that, you know, Rogue, and also what we kind of seen looking for Org do. So Na'Vi, definitely a lot of, I'd say, question marks above their heads at this stage. But I kind of think Na'Vi are probably going to take the entire thing. I just have that confidence in them. Like, who doesn't? I think that they're going to be that surprising feature that we're going to see pop up in DreamHack. And I think that would be, like, the dream for us as a UK scene is to have both of our mighty titans both at Rally. We've already got one. Can we get the second one there?
Well, I think that's the thing as well. What EU's had a habit of doing at these is every season we've shown a fresh EU team that has become an absolutely dominant force. It was obviously GT for however long, then it was Empire who went to...
Well, Team Secret before that, then Team Empire.
Yeah, that's it. Team Secret, Team Empire, and now it is currently Na'Vi who are making these waves in PL, and now they're coming up to a show where they can get themselves a place in Raleigh, and... you know, you kind of expect some fire from them.
Yeah, it just seems to be that the Challenge League teams who come up from whatever region, you look at Latin America with Team 1, they come in, made such an impact at Allied. You look at what Luminosity is doing as well coming in. Look at the leaps and bounds they've made. So it does really show the capacity that Challenge League produces, and definitely I think Na'Vi fit under that role. So going into this matchup, Na'Vi versus Secret. Secret, they have their spot for Rally. They don't have really anything going on. You know, they're in Pro League. They're not, Challenge League hasn't started yet either, so they're just sitting by. The only thing they're really playing right now is Prem. I still know for a fact that they're not going to show their hand, so, and I know for a fact Na'Vi isn't, so this is honestly just going to be the most frag fest map we'll ever see.
Yeah, I don't think that it's going to matter now, because no matter what the semi-finals are going to be, they're going to play one of the two teams anyway. So it's like I said before, they're going to play very default. It will be a frag fest, but they're going to hide everything away, of course, with DreamHack coming up as well, and of course with Secret on top of that. It's understandable to a certain extent why they'll hide everything, which is completely understandable. I don't think they'll worry too much about the seeding, because of the fact that even if it will be exactly, even with if it's going to be M&M and TPH or the other two teams in the playoffs, it's not going to matter too much. But the only thing we can say is both teams have drawn. For example, Na'Vi, they did draw in the past, and same with Secret, they drew against, well, Ridgemans, who knows, now it's M&M. But when Na'Vi drew against T3H, we not only noticed that with Na'Vi, there's a few things there which are quite minor, which actually caused quite an impact on their gameplay, but it may have also been the fact that T3H were actually really strong, what might have been one of their better maps. But going into this, what's your first opinion? Because it's been a while since we've seen these two teams play, even back in the Prem finals, but that wasn't the same Secret team, that was the Prem version, but this is their full roster now.
Yeah, this is Funkers. So the man can try and upset his old team. Feral, how can we not talk about Feral?
The Feral effect. It's been shown very, very powerful and potent, I think is the easiest way of looking at it. Obviously, you know, this is... we all were at LAN, I believe. We saw how obviously Na'Vi at the time Eminem took the crown from Secret, and Secret that whole day didn't look very good, and around that time period they weren't looking very good in other competitions. But then you look back over their past couple months, and this is that Secret that we remember.
It's always a secret we will do, but we do have the picks and bans ready for you guys to find out who will be playing the first map. Demo, your first instincts, what are you feeling?
I think Fragfest. I don't think Strats. I actually have the map written down just because I don't know. I just kind of feel like if any map's going to be played, it's probably going to be what I have written down. Border is what I'm going to go with, simply off the fact that there's literally no strat work you have to do for Border. It is the most basic stuff in the world, and it just comes down to how you frag out on your defense and attack. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. You know, my thought process is Cafe's never going to be played, because if Secret take Na'Vi and Cafe, they lose. So that's a fact. Bank isn't a map that Na'Vi, I think they're going to try and keep that for other tournaments. Coastline a ban, which Secret have kind of done. They haven't been the strongest in that map for quite some time. Or they could be saving strats. Who knows at this stage? Bang.
It's like you're psychic. It's like you knew the whole time.
It's new default. It's new Oregon.
Yeah, it is. I'm just thinking, literally, because we were talking about it, was, right, both of these teams are going to save strats. They're just going to play the most minimal map. Oregon's gone, so the Fragfest is no longer available.
So
what's next?
Next Fragfest.
What's the new Oregon? And keep in mind, I absolutely despise watching Border at this stage.
I think you said it last week, if I
did say
remember rightly.
I hate watching Border because it's just so stale. Get out.
We had it 3 times in 1 week at one stage as well.
Yeah,
That's
I
probably
remember that
why.
week.
No, it's just.
But you said
wipe
about
it.
the strat-wise as well. Like, we've seen everything now. There's not really too
Everything's
much
been
else
done.
to see. Like, yeah,
There's
exactly.
nothing.
Everything's been done. Not so much off-matter in terms of what teams actually do, which is could be another reason why for the Border pick. Because even though they try and hide something, what are they going to hide? Not much.
No, exactly. There's nothing that everybody, you know, already knows on Border. And it's like, oh, look, they're doing this strategy. Oh, we've played this like 100 times before. Let's just counter that. That's the kind of mentality that Border's kind of fit under.
Yeah, I mean, Border's so familiar that you actually see the same strategies in ranked as you do inside the kind of comp scene. It's done and done and done, and then it just relies on fragging. And that's all these guys are going to want to show in this point, because at this point, it's a strong arm competition. They want to win this game because they want to go, yeah, well, we just beat you, so we've got that mentality. But at the same time, they don't want to do it with tactics. They want to do it just by beating them. They just want to gun them down.
It's battle of pride as well. If they've got so much pride, they start revealing, you know, a few things here and there, or won't they? I assume they won't do. They just got to swallow their pride a little bit, even if that does happen. But we'll find out very shortly. But let us know who you think will win this match. Make sure you go to @ESL UK, and I'll be very interested to see that poll vote to find out who you think will win. But enough from me. I'm going to leave it to Demo and Fluke to cast the match of the group stage.
And we are actually on Border this time. That's
Yes,
in the top left, which is
thankfully
good.
we got it right.
We will see what gets taken out. Habana is the first removal from Na'Vi, and that is, you know, normally it's a Thermite to kind of get a bit more of a, well, make the entry onto that top point on Armory a bit tougher to do. Wow, it's the double hard. The double hard is gone.
We have seen this before, and it's something that all of a sudden has become oh so common for what unknown reason I will never know.
Well, Mira is also taken off as well. That makes sense. Mira is a standard removal for this point and for this kind of position. You see it happen more often than not, but you know, now it's just kind of one left. You've got Echo, which I would assume would be the one taken
Or
off.
Maestro, you have a choice. There we
It's
go.
Echo. Yeah, it's one of the two ACOG camera wielders on that really particular place, because you've seen some pretty decidedly nasty Maestro plays where they'll set one up and they'll do a single hard reinforce and a single soft on that armory wall and just kind of keep that ACOG peering ominously along that balcony edge. And we are opening up on that armory as well. Now, Maverick is going to be picked a few times. Fuse is probably not going to be picked a few times. Fuse and Finka, no, Swap Show IQ, I feel like that Fuse is going to be 6th picked. But at the same time, I really don't know what to expect from this game. So who knows if they're going to throw a Fuse onto that sandwich window, which is where I would estimate they would. Otherwise, the defense from Na'Vi looks fairly straightforward, looks fairly standard and fairly kind of, you know, more familiar, I would say.
Yeah, definitely for Border, it's kind of the same stuff that we see every time. So, you know, it's basically hold office as much as you can. Oh, look, we've held the office. Now, let's go for the vents. Let's hold the office again to try and deny access. It's all about the office. Basically, you will see the exact same setup for both top floor and bottom floor alike. And this is where I come down to why I hate Border, because there is literally nothing different.
I'm excited for every round to be, and this is another reason why I hate Border.
Yes.
And this is another reason why I hate Border. I quite enjoy Border because it's just bloody chaos for me. It's,
Yes.
it's fragging, it's peeking.
is.
We've actually seen Na'Vi play this before, and I believe it was Doki who was just running out and getting 2Ks and 3Ks, just finding and staring death in the face. And yes, it was arguably against a lesser team. I can't remember who it was, but most teams in this are arguably lesser than Secret, and it wasn't against Secret. So you're probably not going to get away with that as much, but look at how Na'Vi was playing last week. Look at how Na'Vi play when they're on that kind of swing. They love running out. They love being aggressive on their defenses, and this is a map that can complement that with those long barricades, the eastern stairs. There's a bit of soft and hard on this wall as we kind of expected, and some destruction. They're going to try and Bandit trick it, but at this point, you're kind of wondering why Bandit is playing so close to that.
Yeah, he's just looking to try and, you know, play aggressive at Citizen. We know he has the gun skill to back it up for all that talk. But again, he just leaves it and decides to rotate back. So we're actually going to see the old Maverick trick where you can get rid of the reinforced wall. A great way to really utilize the ability of only having the Maverick. It kind of similar to what we see in Clubhouse sometimes. Whenever Thermite gets banned and you're kind of locked in that vertical effect where you just only have the Maverick, what can you do? You can open up a small portion of the hole, but no, you can do this. And you can simply go for a soft breacher and open it up.
The fact that there is a fuse shield that is causing problems is just something I never expected. When I saw the fuse, I was like, okay, maybe they'll put this on Sandwich, but instead they're just going to charge the front wall. Doki opens the frags against Funkers, and Feral is just trying to creep inside. There's Kendrick with one against Meepy, as Meepy finds Citizen in the meantime. Leon takes Doki, and Nello takes Feral, and Elams takes Nello. This is a trade-to-trade-to-trade kind of battle.
Leon pushing in aggressive, but Kenny, he's there, shuts him down with a long angle on B. That's all left to Lambs. What can the Frenchman do against the Brit and the Polish? Lambs holding strong as much as he can. Half HP, Kenny on low HP as well. Tries to swing in, but that rotation, that's a very common aspect of one I'm fan off on Border, but the angle's been held safe. Don't you see him? No! Down to low HP as well. Green Mine gets chucked in. Lambs is still dancing with death during the tango. Nothing really making any headway. Maybe looking to go back and try and go for the defuse. Trying to defuse here at the Sandwich. Kendry looking to swing in, but still constant tags being brought in from the Valkyrie cameras, and well, Kendry puts an end to that. A massive showing from Kendry.
Well, I think this is a taste of what's to come. That was an absolute bloodfest in that center armory. Everybody and their mums was there, and everybody and their mums was gunned down in the prime. And then it kind of fell a little bit silent, but we will see what happens as we progress further into this game. Unfortunately, a couple of players have dropped, so I believe we're going for a rehost at this point. And, you know, it's a sign of things to come, I believe.
Like, you look at it already. Both teams thirsty. They want the blood. They are hunting it out. They're seeking it. Bit of a weird play style that Secret already brought out with the fuse.
I mean, yes. Like, I tried to find a bit of reasoning in it. If they picked to a fuse and played it on a window where because you generally know they're going to be holding, and you never expect that kind of maneuver. Yeah, you might have an ADS that catches 1 or 2, but at the same time, it can just play people off, because Fuse has a habit of getting everywhere, and there's so many little nooks and crannies just around that Sandwich window, or around maybe even AC window, where you can kind of throw people off, and they just charged the armory door instead, and they put one on the armory door. At that point, they'd already started mavericking it, and Bandit had pulled off, and they had Buck underneath, so they knew that they were generally just fusing an empty quarter. I don't know what else to say, really.
Like, I get the idea, because I'll give them a benefit of that. I always try and see the good life.
Yep.
Right? And the way I look at Fuse is, whenever you see Secret bringing double nades, which is Sledge, and also bringing up the Buck, you can use those Fuse pellets, try and get yourself in the Sandwich window, get them in, eats up ADSs. So then that kind of does give you an ability to go ahead and start with the nades being chucked in. But they just didn't use that at all. Literally was just a fuse shield from Feral. Should we just wipe that topic and move on to something else?
I don't know. I want to see more Fuse Shield.
I
Feral,
don't, because
please
it
explain
doesn't do anything.
what the Fuse Shield was about. But we are obviously going to get back to the game very shortly. Vent is the next point. Again, as you've said, it's a way you hold a lot of the points very similar across border. This is going to be a top-heavy hold, you would assume. But if there was a match, look at that split. That is...
Wow, Navi favored as well.
Which is... you know, it's kind of surprising. This is maybe one of the few...
I'm surprised we didn't see more draw percentage there. Because that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it's the tough thing about these polls is often they'll get voted on by people who follow the team but don't really follow seeds. They don't really respond, but at the same time they give us a rough estimation of what is going on in people's heads and how much people are kind of vibing behind the team. But I think you're right. I think a draw is where I would put the safe bet for this game.
Yeah.
Just based on the culmination of everything, because I don't think either team is gunning too much in terms of they need to win or they want to win or they want to beat the other guys. At this point, it's two teams scrimming, I think, but it's like the loosest scrim where
scrimming with no hard breachers.
It's the last scrim of the day, and you've already kind of given up, and it's very uncomfortably warm in England right now, so why not we just ban hard breachers and play Fuse Shield?
It's kind of down to both Navi and Secret just showing, you know, who's actually tougher, you know, who's actually stronger. You know, it's much more of a show-off battle than anything.
I want to see some montage clips. I want to see some runouts. I want to see some 360s. I want to see...
you basically just caused this to happen now.
I know.
You think it won't happen? Yes, it will. Because you look at it, right? You look at Navi last week. They were jumping out of everything. You know, the whole monkey playstyle. They did that. But we also do have the, you know, the OG monkey ranked star, Mr. Leon Gids, playing as well, and even his accomplice Feral will join into that. There is a lot of things that can happen that literally we cannot predict. It's out of our hands at this stage.
Yep, and you know, it's exciting as much as it is terrifying. The thing about this, obviously, we kind of talked about this playstyle earlier with Exilium's game, is they were bringing that kind of ranked playstyle, and it works very well for them. But they had a lot on the line. These are two teams where they don't really have a huge amount on the line, even less so because they very probably rightly assume that they're going to be facing each other on the LAN stage in the final, and that is where it's on the line, and that is where
the dream is Rally, Grand Final, Secret Navi. That's the dream.
It would be a heck of a sight. I would feel very proud for our small nation.
You always think about which one of those teams would knock out EG though. Honestly, probably be Fnatic.
Yeah, I gotta love APAC. Big love to APAC out here.
Yeah, you gotta love that. Bit of EG shade being thrown, but hey, we're EU, so we have to. It's kind of in our DNA at this stage.
I don't think anyone from NA is watching Prem either. I would be surprised if...
No, you would be surprised.
Okay.
You know, we
Shout out to NA.
You know, we got Helby. He's from NA, kind of, but he doesn't really come to Prem because he's from NA.
Yeah.
So big F for Helby for him again for the third time qualifying for finals. Still won't be here after all that time. But we got Funkers here this time, though.
We do.
Which I think is going to be very exciting to see him come to his actually first Prem. Like, Funkers has never been to a Prem final.
Really?
Yeah. Because he wasn't in the Prem team for Season 2, and they needed to have Plebman for the 3 out of 5 rule for last season, of course. Yeah. So now he actually does get to come for a change.
Oh, that's nice. He's actually been invited.
It's going to be nice to see him.
Obviously, we saw Na'Vi versus Secret in the previous LAN finals, when Na'Vi ended up taking it away. As I said before, Secret weren't really looking too hot that day in general. I think it was it War that they played before they played Na'Vi? I'm trying to think back now to my old...
Yeah, it was War, yeah. It was a 2-0, but definitely as War put up a bit of a fight.
It was a shaky 2-0. It wasn't as clean as we've seen them, and obviously since then we've had a little bit of a roster change, which has completely illuminated Secret.
What they did at Allied is something we'll never ever see again from another team, and that has to be the way, because those moments like that literally are a golden moon in esports history.
And that's the thing. And if you kind of see that Secret against the Na'Vi of the time, which were obviously back then they were Eminem,
back to us.
I think we probably would have seen a Secret victory out of that. Obviously, we're going to have a bit more of a discussion now, guys. A bit more about Siege history.
Bear with us. Like, we could always start talking about the Wild West. The old Wild West.
It's sad because we don't actually have any cowboy hats in the studio.
We wanted to Yi some has, but instead we're actually Yi in our last ha. So
yeah, we've seen some people have been sent cowboy hats. So I'm hoping
we don't get any though.
Maybe for the final.
You think we're going to cover up that hair?
No, I don't think a hat would fit over this.
I don't think it is.
It's like I'm in
golden mane.
I'm in the club with like me and.
We need to get you a new nickname.
We'll think of that off stream, and then I'll bring it.
Chat, think of a new nickname that we can use for this golden locks of hair.
Please not lie.
What we got?
Because then I will get banned.
You could do Maverick. You could do Maverick.
I could do Maverick.
Easy
I did actually. Ages ago, when I first started casting, this is completely unrelated to anything. I swore that for my first LAN I would cosplay something. And obviously there's potentially LAN coming up, so who knows what the future may hold. But you should buy your tickets just in case.
Yeah,
because
buy your tickets.
We've got a whole
buy your tickets.
big show
do the thing
coming.
Production. Do the thing.
Throw it on the screen.
Do the thing. There's the thing. Look,
because we need to sell these tickets for the good old Summer 2019 finals at the venue at DMU Leicester in DMU Leicester. The place is called The Venue and it's in Leicester.
Yeah.
July the 27th.
450 tickets, if I'm not mistaken, guys. So please buy them.
And last time it was we ended up standing room only. Like we completely sold out the seat. It was an amazing kind of experience. Obviously, if you're a CS fan as well, the whole weekend doubles up with a Rainbow Day and a CS Day. I'm only going to be at the Rainbow Day. I don't understand.
Yeah,
CS.
I think most people will only be at the Rainbow Six Day.
But it's the better day.
It is the better game. That's all we can say.
But yeah, that will be coming up later. Obviously,
like you see, like Harry's over there. He's laughing at me.
Yep.
Because he does CS:GO stuff still.
He does.
You know, but then
doesn't play.
Then again, CS:GO's fun to watch.
Just loses.
Which is a truth.
Obviously, we know two of the teams that are going to be at these live finals, but there are the other teams that have been confirmed to be battling for the remaining live final places. Do we know what those games are going to be yet? Is there still a potential of change of seed?
What, for playoffs?
For the playoffs?
No, we know what now it's going to be, guys. So for Tuesday, the 9th, and we're going to be back in here for our final playoff. It will be M&M taking on Wind and Rain. That's the 3rd seed taking on the 6th. And then our 4th versus 5th will be T3H against Horus, who we still have to play tonight as well.
Well, those are going to be big, big games, but we are back in. We have the thumbs up. We are ready to roll in with this second round. Obviously,
is that a fuse again?
It's a fuse again.
Oh,
is it a shield fuse again? I guess
I'm gonna cry again.
It's a different point. So
it is a different point.
Arguably, and I cannot believe I'm saying this sentence. Arguably, there is more use for a fuse on this point push.
Yeah, obviously.
Than on the other, because there's a floor you can utilize. But you're still bringing the ballistic shield fuse.
I have a theory.
Yep.
I think to buff Fuse, I think that we should allow him to reach up onto the roof and put it so it shoots up as well. So you can go below and then fuse up in.
You know, I think that would be definitely an interesting take. The big argument that you always see when it comes with deciding new operators and ways to play it is the verticality of hatches on a reverse method, on a way of working against them the other way around. And you know, you'll see however many posts about a step ladder operator and stuff like that. But I do think Fuse being able to, if he can get close to a roof,
he
can
gets
pop
like a
up.
stick, like pushes it up.
Why can he not have the technology of a stick? But here comes the opening push.
Just gets a GoPro at the end of it, just fires it up, takes a selfie while doing it.
It's amazing. It's like the Apex trailer. But Kendra is dug in with Mozzie playing onside that B point. Obviously, they've spread out their defense pretty wide on the ground floor with some roaming around detention. Saves. Already suffering a Maverick that's trying to dig through. Isn't going to take the battle too directly. Is actually just going to pull back and see if they can catch an ankle. But there pops off that hard wall. And who needs hard destruction? Fused yet again, breaking through the same way, and they're just going to let them take control of Armory, and that's a fair thing at that point, because they didn't have a huge amount of immediate counter there. You can see Doki is rotating up the kind of short, but it's actually battling across CCTV, and Alems is going to open the fragging from CCTV.
That's good angles being held, that's good crossfires from Team Secret, because the way that security kind of is laid out, there's only one way in from the top floor, and that is if you walk literally through the corridor, which is what Doki was trying to establish. But Alemso's holding that single angle. That's where the crossfires and the kind of bottlenecks happen and border with the corridor area. And this is where Secret, they have full reign to go ham on all of this. Flooring now the smoke pushes up east and finds Leon, but again, Leon as a Maverick, he's done his job. He managed to open up the wall to get them in. Sure, hatches may be an issue. I'm not even sure, is there any hatches actually being left open, or did they reinforce both of them? Yes, they reinforced both of them, but the way the destructibility works still doesn't matter. You could rip up every angle, even if the hatches were open or not.
I really want Feral to kill Kendrew with the pop. Right? That's all I want one Fuse kill. If Feral is going to refuse to play anything other than Fuse, I at least want a Fuse kill. Nello, in the meantime, gets his double against Alems, and this just leaves the 3 Secret players inside Armory trying to find an opening down below. Obviously, they've lost the IQ, which, you know, you're against a Valkyrie on this map can be a bit of a problem if they haven't done their work. They lost the Maverick who has done their work. Look at Kenny. He's just hiding under the table. If they're not aware of this during the smoke, this could be an absolute brutal mistaken moment. The frag.
Oh no, he's alive! Kendrew cannot brew all of this! He has to try and find the diffuser. He's right in front of him. He doesn't see the diffuser. He literally walks over him, and Feral shoots him down with a pistol. The diffuse is in. The shield is ready. It's holding the wall. It's holding the line. Saves tries his best to try and dash in. The run out from Citizen will be shut down as well from the PAM. Oh, another one from Feral. The diffuser's trying to be initiated. Feral with the fuse shield. No! Nello shuts him down, but the upstairs hold is there from Vonkers. This has to be the round for Team Secret. Nello, he's taking a defuse. Vonkers, you need to find him. Yes. Whoa. Fluke, hold me.
I don't know what happened in that round. Kendrew brushed against a man in the smoke and suffered the fate of it. That's like, I've seen a clip, a famous clip of, I believe it was last year in OGA, it was a LATAM player, I think it might have been Psycho, who moved in and amongst the smoke between 2 other smokes and found 3 kills, and it was unbelievable. And that was the opposite of that moment.
Oh my.
That was amazing from our point of view. Wow.
Well, we said fun.
Does Demo's Fail of the Week still apply? Because that could be a contender so far. We're only on round 2 of this game as well. Like
that could be the fail.
We go back.
We could just say, we'll just put Exilium off with Fail of the Week.
Oh,
there was that too mean. I think that's
my boys have suffered enough.
Am I BMing too much?
My boys have suffered. We see now setting up in this ground hole.
Oh, no.
Pulled off the Mozzie. Citizen still playing the Valk. For all that we talk about the silliness of this game, Valk is such a good operator on this map. Obviously, Echo has taken off and Mirror as well. 2 standard operators to lose, but you're kind of forcing them to play an IQ continually here because, as I said, those cameras dig in, even though you're only allowed to use the more default skins nowadays. For them, they're still so hard to spot with those kind of long, and you know, and fair play, this map was built for her. It's just such a powerful operator for this map.
And I haven't really seen a Valkyrie player do as well as what Citizen does. You know, teams literally go out of their way to target that operator so he cannot play her.
Yep.
That's how strong and potent Navi, you know, since Challenger League, Citizen has always played that operator, and he has done it with such class and proficiency, and it shows. It really does.
I think one of the good things about it is there's always talk about the MPX and how powerful a gun. Obviously, it is a veritable pea shooter, but you see some of the best defender fraggers in the world, especially, as we said, in the LATAM region, utilize it as their main fragging gun. Players like Nesk roll and love using that MPX because of how quick it can be, how accurate it can be, and Citizen is just another example of that. Tie that in with an amazing information gathering gadget. Buck brutally putting pressure towards a man just trying to climb some bookcases, who unfortunately manages to get out of the way of the Buck, who just does not like education. The pings are coming, the drones are moving, and Secret is hunting, but he's just going to rotate back down to the floor below. And yet again, that is that ground floor, oh, that is that top floor, I should say, under the control of Secret. And they do still have a Fuse on the board, the most powerful operator.
Doki gonna be using the new weapon. Is the impact grenade. We'll have to see what the fire rate's like on that particular weapon. As they're just holding strong, using that intel, knowing their angles, knowing what's safe. But they have then allowed Team Secret to, once again, go upstairs, be able to use the destructibility. But looks to be Navi this time. They're not going to lay waste and sitting inside of the bomb site just get picked off. Instead, they will be being able to go for the retake strategy, which is something we see common, where if you know your team being pressured inside of the vents, everybody will start to rotate and try and play in customs. We say this, 2 quick kills for Navi, send them into the man lead, but a quick response from Meatby nonetheless. Meatby tossing an nade in, well, doesn't find anything. Citizen with the deagle. Yet Feral, and it's literally just down to Meatby. Is Doki ready to try and get a kill with the impact grenade?
I love the idea of him trying to do like a peek hole with an impact grenade. Like, he is waiting and he is trying to hold this tight angle with that impact grenade. 30 seconds left, a 3 versus 1 situation with Meepy opening up holes above. Does find Kendrew, but with 26 seconds left and not a huge amount open, they're just gonna have
I keep thinking he's gonna like cook an impact and throw out the castle barricade to run in.
Yep. And it's the joy of Siege sometimes. Even the game itself knows this game is gonna be such nonsense that it's throwing its hat into the ring and just doing stuff like this. Here comes... No, he should have had a gun out instead. Meepy finds a very easy kill. There's still one more to lock off. Just gonna have to go for the plant, and this is down to Citizen to rotate around and shut this off. There is the Goober Stomp to end that.
Yep, Navi, they did the work whenever they got those quick 2 frags. It threw Secret off in their playstyle. Already after 3 rounds. Where's Leon? Where is he? Where's the kids?
I don't know.
The Prem VP.
Haven't had to call his name once so far today, and 0 kills, 0 assists. It's not really looking so good, but at the same time, you look at Kendrew as well, who was up for Prem VP last season, and again, he's suffering in the start of this game so far. He's even had like a banana peel slip kind of moment.
I know you said he's up for the Prem VP, which is, everybody wants that. Honestly, he could be in the line for the fail of the week, so there's always options here for
You want to go from the top to the bottom. You always want to live in extremes.
Do you really want to get an award that's handed out by me? Of course you do not, because it's me.
Exactly. But maybe we should try and get some kind of award made for the land that we could hand out to one of these players, just to really rub salt in there.
We could make Doki the trophy.
Doki's face on the trophy.
No, literally just Doki. Like you just here you go. There's Doki.
Machine still up and running.
So that could be an option.
But here comes the setup on triple. Obviously, we're back up to this armory hold after a couple of jaunts around vents at this point. We'll see how they decide to hold it this time. Obviously, the push was a bit chaotic. Fuse is gone. A little bit sad about that, but sometimes, you don't want to be too powerful in a game. You don't want to bring the most powerful operator in the middle.
I'm just waiting for the quick rush from Team Secret. We haven't seen any of those, and that is something that they went for time and time again whenever they were at Las Vegas for the minor. I've never seen a team who went from being very slow, didn't really go for those kind of playstyles, to all of a sudden Feral comes in, he brings the Vex behind him, and then we start to see what is known as the Vex Rush, the Rush B. But we haven't seen any of that yet. Do you think, Fluke, is there a bit of fear in Secret?
I wouldn't say fear. I would, and I don't mean this in the worst way, I would say a little bit of
respect,
laziness.
Say respect for Navi?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They definitely have a bit of respect to the point where they don't really want to gun too much into this game. For them, they'll be having a discussion, they'll be joking around in the map. We've obviously, as we said, I'll say however many stuff about Fuse, but they've bought him a couple of times. Yes, they're starting to bring more standard lineups for this push. They're bringing the double soft destruction alongside the Maverick, who's going to try and, yet again, burn their way through very expertly from Leon. They have heaps of respect for each other. These two teams both recognize each other as the big threat to their crown, and they've both worn the crown over the past 2 seasons of Prem. This is one of those things where they have huge amounts of respect, but for this and for this game, I think they're just having a good time with it. I think at this point, they're just kind of comfortable in where they're at, comfortable in how they're playing, and it's just 10 mates messing around and a kickabout in the park. And to be fair, I really love that. I love seeing games where they kind of get that breath of fresh air and they can keep themselves active in the season and keep themselves going. And oh, what a grenade! But at the same time, they'll start to turn the fire up because even their standard relaxed playstyle is still leagues and leagues above the standard playstyle of hard-trying players.
Leon falls once again for the first blood. 0-4 is how it stands for him. Feral pushes in aggressively, using the AK rather than the RX. As Diffuser will try and get initiated, but the quick response from Na'Vi, the Hail Mary, will land its mark. Citizen, a great C4 from him. And once again, all down to LM's Deja Vu. We've seen this before, but Says, he puts an end to that a lot quicker than the last time. Na'Vi, they hold on to the armory.
Well, that was a much more convincing hold. Again, obviously, I think the attack is suffering from the double hard destruction ban. Yes, especially on that point for sure. We've seen them expertly try and take care of that first wall with Maverick, and they're doing very well, but you're forcing Leon to play that role every single round, and you're forcing him, who is, as we've many times pointed out, an exceptional fragger, an exceptional mover in the map, but you're giving him this heavy utility role where he's losing his life every single time. Yeah, he's getting the job done, he's ticking the box, but he's not taking the Leon Gids box of murdering so many people. Customs is the first time we've seen at this point today as we rotate away from the three, obviously, that we've had to see before, and it's the more common scene over Tellers.
Run 5 is where we want to see that tertiary bomb site. And again, Fluke, it comes back to it. This is why I hate this map with a deep passion, is the 3 bomb sites you get to choose from, they're not all that good. They really aren't.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about what maps do brilliantly. Obviously, we've already seen Consulate, and we talked about in depth how enjoyable the 3 different bomb sites can be in terms of the different ways you hold them, different ways you take them. This is one where you have those 2, your A point and your B point. You have the vents, you have the armory, and then the 3rd time round, you know, it's kind of just you do a soft version of one of your other holds and hope that it hangs onto enough ground to keep you in control. But both of them are tough spots because there's very easy, quick ways into both points. It's very flat. It's dangerous for the defenders. And you look at other maps that have kind of had these problems, and Oregon is the most notable, where you had 2 very good points in dorms and in that basement point, and then the 3rd point was just a toss-up between tower or kitchen, depending on team preference. Leon has opened his frags.
Finally.
He's off the board, and they're in going for the plant.
Secret will start to initiate, but Doki responds with a double before a flurry of blue comes out from Team Secret. A free on 2. Kendrew has put away the shield, brings out the SMG, Say's still alive. We know what he can do with the 416 in his hands. But at this moment, it's going to be a rough one for Na'Vi to try and pull this back. So Kendrew will try and pull it, the shield, gain as much intel. Saves will find one, but for LMs, goes for the old bikini body from Kendrew, and he will find Leon from it. So that's a one-on-one. Clash versus the IQ, and Kenny, what a clutch from him, he pulls it out of the bag.
I can't believe he worked the 360 spin bikini birdie into that clutch. The speed at which they got the diffuser down, the sheer magnitude of that twirl and double kill. Kendrew, that is going on YouTube. That is a highlight clip.
Yeah, the old bikini body hit him. Good double kill from Kendrew there. Nice clutch. As we head in to our next one, and well, this will be the final defense for Na'Vi, and I'm probably sure to the comfort of Secret, who, you know, we've kind of talked about both of these teams. Kind of looking as if Na'Vi are pulling away.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing, again, this kind of relaxed, silly, fun playstyle from both teams. I would say with double hard off this, it is more favored towards the defenders in terms of a general push, a general strategy. As I said, yes, you still have Maverick and we've seen him doing work, but it's forcing that player to have a very particular role. Got 2 frags that time round when he didn't really have to do the standard work that he's got to do, but at the same time, you've got to be aware of this. You've got to be aware of what players are being utilized for what roles, and putting Leon in that role is a big resource to eat up. At the same time, you know, the way that they're kind of playing, they're not trying to put too much pressure and too much weight on their attacks. They're not trying to sweat it out, as the standard term goes. They're just trying to have fun with it. And when you're having fun, but you're also kind of lose the operator ban side, you know, it makes things a bit awkward, a bit difficult because you can't really rely on default if default is completely off the board, whereas the defenders at this point, they're playing with default bans. They're playing with what you would normally assume to be taken out of the equation anyway. This is comfortable ground for them in terms of the bans and in terms of how can they play against this. Doki is going for the peak against this east stairs. Doesn't catch anyone. Goes back out. Doesn't catch anyone. Ooh, just playing with the detection. Sees one, and there goes Leon before he got into the building. Doki is not allowing that man inside, and is going to start battling against a second straight on those windows. Not panicked and not worried about this firefight. Still has the impact, ready for a rotation if need be. Saves is there too. Well, actually wants the rotation opened early and wants to try and battle underneath against anyone that might be approaching that teller's side. But so far it is just generally firefights from deep, and Kendrew finds Feral.
Navi just piling on numbers at the moment, and well, Secret, they seem to be slowing down their push. Thunkers, it's a good shot from him, does finish off the down player. That's Legion off the board, but Citizen responds straight away, and you can see the confidence that this Navi roster has, where they literally do not care what Secret throw at them, they'll respond. Doki, again, using the Vigil, K1A. Great gun to be using, and well, Meat all down to you. You have the diffuser, keep in mind, and are inside of the supply room. Can get a freebie onto Doki as he walks in front, but the shots miss out as the wild spray comes in from the K1A. But the trade's there, they trade each other. Doki, triple kill for him.
Two lovers of two different houses shoot each other in the head and border instead.
Yep, he says, "You will never take my freedom, maybe I will get this kill."
Well, I mean, to the point with that round, I think there was a good 10 seconds when it was down in the 3v1 where it said, operator detected outside. So it really kind of shows how they're playing that. And this was what actually, I say that out loud, and I remember earlier I said that was how they've played this before anyway, Na'Vi. They're so comfortable to, when they're on that momentum, just push and push and push and push and go all the way outside and play so aggressive.
Apart from that one round that Secret won, this feels pretty underwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see how it goes. We saw the Lion 6th pick to Monty. Couldn't be, I guess, two more opposite changes
We're going to
there.
see a quick rush coming in from, you know, the old B Planet Concrete.
Potentially.
Because those are always fun.
They are. Obviously, we've seen a lot of information gathering. This is, again, a pretty standard lineup from Secret on the defense. They have the capabilities for information. You've got to kind of bring that Valkyrie, as we said before. Maestro is very common as well on these points. That ACOG can just tear across these flat, open walls, and you can get sightlines from one corner to the other across the top of this border. Mozzie as well is obviously the fresh addition to this kind of setup and this kind of lineup, and I really like Mozzie on this map because drones are quite easy to find. The shotgun is so useful for your movement and rotation on this map. It's just a good operator for this.
I'm honestly have been such a big fan of the Australian operators as soon as, you know, they've been able to be played in ESL. We've already touched upon Gridlock earlier today. How about we give Mozzie his time to shine? And for me, yes, you said Mozzie. Big fan of him. For many reasons. Mozzie kind of fits in that role that Valkyrie and Pulse brings to the table.
Yep.
So if Valkyrie or Pulse gets banned, hey, he could be your go-to guy. His gadget doesn't necessarily give intel directly, because you have to go out and find your own intel. That's the thing about it. You have to make sure you have the drones before he actually starts using that gadget. Also a little bit of a mini mute kind of thing with him, where, you know, you have that pest at the door, someone tries to go through it, it's going to get caught, so they know. Quite similar to a mute jammer, you see the fuzz, you know, oh, don't go near that. Has a shotgun, which is a big plus, especially for defense. If you want to maybe bring him as a substitute of Maestro, you know, Maestro is there because he brings intel and has that destructibility. Mozzie also does that. And again, the Roni or the Commando, personal preference choice, both great guns, and a Nitrocell to top it off.
Well, that's it. Leon just went for a very wide jump out, and Saves was trying to hunt him down on the other side. Citizen opens up, does find Leon, who ran out, and there is that fast plant you were calling. Kendra is just going to try and dig in. They're trying to stop it, has the shield on his back, and there it goes. And now the Man Mountain is just going to become a door frame as Nello is going to cover the run outside. Doki has the opposite covered too. Fonkers wants to creep out, but you will be well aware that it's being watched. With your smoke off the table as well, that's such a big loss. A beautiful take against Doki. You hear a Nomad go off somewhere nearby, but you're not 100% sure. Just going to try and long arm it.
Lems, No!
Oh, gets dropped. Funkers is on a little sliver of health. The cover, and Nello finds another. And it was a bold attempt from Funkers, but Na'Vi putting themselves on match point.
I don't know if anybody picked up in why that was genius. Now, the reason why that's genius, Fluke, do you know what they did differently than what I've seen in the past that really made that work?
Paint me the picture.
Okay. So you're moving in to try and go for, the standard plant with the Monty, put shield in the back, standard, okay?
Yep.
But very easily counterable. Smoke, nitro cells, all that jazz. As soon as you know a Monty's at that door, you're expecting that kind of plant, correct?
Yep.
So, in that scenario, Monty literally swung in, crouch walked, made as little noise as he could, so you don't hear the shield. As soon as you hear the clang, 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 you're expecting Monty. Doki was on the vents window, common spot. If you're going for a B plant or not, it's a common issue. So he's shooting open the window, but at the same time, he also shot open the door. If you're a defender and hear that door being shot open, you don't expect, oh, that's for a Monty to walk in. But that's what it was. Monty then creeped on in. They didn't hear anything. You hear no shield, and the plant just comes in. Genius.
It was genius. Every part of the puzzle came together perfectly for them.
That one little thing, just that little sound cue where they could not hear the Monty, and he shot open the barricade for the Monty to walk in. I live for this kind of stuff.
Well,
I live for it.
What you can see now is they've decided to shake up the push. Na'Vi is expecting, I assume, the same point, and instead they're going to go for the more familiar armory. We'll take by the looks of the setup of the operators. They've got the double soft destruction there of Saves and Citizen, a piece on those, on one Polish sister and one American. And then you've also obviously got the IQ, which is, again, you kind of got to bring that. They're playing Mozzie. Citizen opens up Leon Gids, though. Yet again, he is not having his day today.
No, he just isn't here, and I've said it before, if Leon doesn't turn up, who does? We kind of seen that from Allied, though, where Feral, he definitely turned up that day, but Feral, where's he been? Apart from that one round of Fuse, what's he been really doing? There's nobody that we can say from Secret that has any hope and who wants to try and have that passion and drive, as this could be at the verge of a 7-1. It has to be a 7-1 at this stage, as Na'Vi, already within the first 45 seconds, it's been a bloodbath. Funkers managed to get one on the Citizen, but the air jab, double air jab. That's a living hell if you're going to be Funkers. Secret, back to the drawing board.
Well, if you were going to tell me the scoreboard of that game, and actually we did discuss this, and I said I wouldn't be surprised with a draw. Apparently I was wrong. Apparently it was going to be a 7-1
You would have expected a draw.
You would have expected
You really
it.
would have.
And I kind of gave the benefit of the doubt at the split of the half.
Yeah.
And I said,
Na'Vi big org all the following.
Yep. And at the same time, they won most of their defenses, but they were against no hard destruction really, which forced them Secret to play in a specific way. And then they just played 2 attacks like it was nothing. They breezed through those 2 attacks.
But disappointing, I would say. This was the match. That was supposed to be it. Yeah. I would have said last match even topped that more. So what really has been the match of the season? That's now I have to kind of question and think about, because no other chance was at that match. That match was... who was that playing,
That did escalate a little bit quicker than I expected. Even when I came back, I was like, what's going on here? But I thought, okay, defense,
I seen you come back and you were like looking at it.
Yeah, because I literally left as 1-0, and I thought I'll quickly pop back, and then I looked, and I was like, okay, it's 5-1. I assume Secret will get a few rounds back on the board, maybe, and see how it goes from there. But yeah, that was so weird.
My fail of the week. Look at that.
This bit I did catch, and I was laughing as I walked off.
that was. I think definitely Kendra. I think he's up for fail of the week, unless something happens in Horse or Demise, which is even worse. But I feel at the end of the show, we may be seeing Kendra again with that play.
But what do you reckon? Is that worse, or the fact that sadly Exilium got reverse swept?
I said that I don't know if Exilium's going to be the fail of the week or not.
Yeah.
I think
kick them when
there's
they're
no point kicking them whenever they're basically dead at this stage.
Yeah.
We'll just let them be. We'll let them have a nice funeral for their Exilium. We'll send some flowers. We'll get some budget together, Harry. Me and you'll go down. We'll show the respects.
Yeah.
Look, you can go to the Mize because we don't want to.
What's left anyway?
Yeah. What's left of them anyway?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was such a weird one. I didn't expect it to go that quick. You can say it's a display of, you know, Na'Vi's dominance, but then again, Secret probably wasn't that bothered at all. They probably thought, you know, okay, put him in, you know, just let them have it.
Like,
do you know what I mean? It's quite a hard one.
This match, again, means nothing in the long term. Still a bit of bragging points, I would say.
Yep.
But if we go in the finals, I don't really think we should take this match in consideration going into that best of three with, you know, which we're saying this that Secret and Navi's going to be the final. That could be subject to change, but the likelihood is definitely in favor of both those teams being able to play against each other in the final for the trophy. And I don't think this is a match that we should really, you know, touch upon there, because it's like if Secret won 7-1, we'd be saying the exact same thing. It literally doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
It was a fun, silly game for them both to play. There wasn't anything really at cost for them at this point.
No strats, like we talked about.
Didn't need the strats. They messed around. They could have been, you know, two other teams at this point.
It was like, oh, guys, we have a match to play. All right, we'll just quickly get 7-1, right?
Now I need to go back and play more of the cowboy game mode.
Exactly.
That's what we're all doing.
Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know if they just didn't care or bother that much, that they just let it go that way. Or it's just, you know, I can't say it shows Na'Vi's dominance, because you could do, but you couldn't.
I've said it time and time again. We can say this about any esports, any title, any regular sports. It's all about how you play on the day.
That is true, that is true. But we do have an interview with Doki and see what he thought of that match. And, oh, I think he's somewhere. So we can see you, Doki. You there, mate? There he is. Hello, mate. How you doing? You right?
Yeah, I'm alright. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Of course, congratulations for qualifying for the Prem Finals. You knew that last week anyway, but you guaranteed that #1 seed. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, this match was kind of a fun one, I guess, but we still wanted to win it just to get that first seed going in, make lives a little bit easier for ourselves, especially at the Prem line, because we've got a busy month coming up. So yeah, but yeah, GG Secret.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. You know, I did say to the guys that, you know, a lot of pride's on the line, and you don't want to, you know, sacrifice any strats. So you've got to swallow your pride. That's that little bit more. But do you expect the scoreline to be so huge? Because when I came back, it was 1-1. When I came back and it was 5-1, and I was just like, what happened? Talk to me a little bit about that first half.
I mean, it's a bit of both, to be honest. Like, I don't know, like, you've seen our border through all of Challenger League, Pro League as well. Like, we've been playing border for a while. I'm not so sure about Secret if it's one of their strongest maps. So again, I'm not sure about that. But I mean, again, it was one of those fun matches. I'm sure both teams weren't trying as hard as they really needed to be. If it was a proper match, I think that match will happen at the Prem Finals in Leicester. So yeah, that should be a better one to watch. I think a bit more balanced out than 7-1 at least. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's a little bit more balanced out compared to that 7-1, but we'll see what happens when the Prem Finals goes, and if you both make it to that Grand Final again. Anyway, and last question from me to you anyway, a little bit off topic as well. You know, you've seen the playoff spots now, that's pretty much been covered. Have you got an idea of which two teams you predict could actually meet with you and Secret into the Prem Finals at all? Because there's a couple we may think, you know, they should like almost definitely make it, but, you know, I want to know, like, not just your prediction, but just your opinion in general.
I mean, I think this season of Prem is definitely one of the strongest seasons we've had with all the teams competing. So I think competition is a lot higher than it used to be. T3H are looking really strong right now. They're looking to take a Challenger League spot, in my opinion. So obviously they're at DreamHack as well now, which we'll be playing tomorrow. So good luck to them at DreamHack. I'm sure they will also make it to Prem Finals. The other spot could go to anyone, to be honest. M&M, War. Again, both two great teams. It just depends who shows up on the day, to be honest. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to see who it is. I've got friends on both teams, so I don't want to be biased or anything.
Oh, that's fair enough. I thought I'd try and get a little bit of bias from you, but, you know, I did my best, didn't I?
Okay, M&M all the way. M&M all the way. There we go.
There we go, Sid. There is a little bit from you. It's good to see you again anyway, and good luck, and we'll see you at the Prem Finals.
All right, thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, it's like I mentioned before, not really too much going on, but there was still, you know, a bit of pride there. He wanted to, you know, not to show there's a better team on the day, but, you know, to go in feeling that you've got that #1 seed. Makes you feel a little bit better going into it. But I think from what I know now, they there's a possibility of matching T3H if they do actually get through the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that is kind of how it goes. I think we'll check that out.
Yeah.
It's always a little bit weird with the kind of ones of 6th place beats 3rd place, one's of 3rd beats 6th, who plays that.
Yeah.
A big, massive mess, which we'll let people in the back deal with.
People who do maths.
But, yeah, he said himself he thinks T4H M&M. Fair. I would say, especially whenever both those teams are sitting 3rd and 4th, respectively. As you can see, there's the full table, so that does certify Na'Vi as finishing out their season flawless, keep in mind, so they did not lose. The only team to do so were Team Secret. They take their first defeat of the season.
That is right, yeah, finally they managed to get defeated. Na'Vi managed to go through with no loss at all, only that one draw with that game against T3H was, well, not too much of a surprise. T3H really showed them, not how it's done, but really took them to the wire in that draw. But what do you think, though, Flick? You know, considering circumstances, even though Secret did lose at 7-1, there's a possibility that they may end up playing M&M instead of T3H, so they're probably a little bit happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the idea of Na'Vi versus T3H is that was the team that Na'Vi drew. That was the one team to pull points away from Na'Vi. So at the same time, you know, T3H are going to go into that with a good kind of mindset. Secret, obviously, against M&M. Doki said, as we've said many times, the Secret we saw today wasn't the Secret we're going to see on the comp days. This was them just kind of relaxed, they're messing around.
Yeah,
they're
just playing it because they have to.
Yeah, it's the beach holiday version. It's the, you know, it's the fun April Fool's event of skins Secret that we saw today. But we will soon be back seeing their actual Pro League skins. And, you know, it's good that I think we can kind of have this depth of competition. As Doki said, this is the toughest season we've had so far. You know, M&M could put it together on the day.
That is right. You know, Secret did draw against M&M like you mentioned before, but I think I remember in an interview they said they need to have a break. You know, they were quite tired from everything that happened in the past few months. Yeah. So even though M&M got that draw, there's still that hope, you know, not light in the tunnel, but there's a glimmer of hope they can actually have a chance. But if you guys want to be at the Prem finals in the summer of 2019, July 27th, make sure you go to the venue at the DMU in Leicester. Tickets are over at esl.im/R6S finals. Make sure you get them ASAP, because last time it was completely sold out. There is more tickets available this time, but don't be too surprised if they're sold out again, and we don't want you guys feeling left out. But that's all from us for that match. We do have one last one coming up very shortly, but we'll see you in a few minutes. And we're back with more Siege Prem action as we're on our last match of the day. It's going to be Horus versus Demise, and I'm trying to think of a way how to hype this up, because in all fairness, between these two teams, it's guaranteed that Horus in playoffs, Demise sadly have been relegated, but also I don't think it's going to affect the standings in any way if Horus actually lose.
Horus are stuck where they are. They are hard stuck in 5th place, so that is where they will remain. So we know they're going to be playing up against T4H. Even if they win, lose or draw, literally means nothing. So this is just Siege.
Pretty much a scrim, almost.
Yeah,
Scrimmage,
but the thing is, it's a scrim.
A live scrim.
It's a scrim between two teams where one is already falling apart and they're going different ways, and this is the last game.
Already, yeah. They're gone. They're in the win.
Game, technically under the Demise banner. And at the same time, Horus are playing with a sub today, because I believe Joker cannot make it. But
yes, because who is their sub going to be?
We'll find out. We'll find out.
Okay, we'll find out.
Don't worry.
Okay, I'm not
right, I'll give you a clue. He's a lover of music.
he's a superpower.
He's a lover
player.
of music. That's all you need to know.
Okay,
right?
okay. Well, I don't know how that's going to affect this actual game, but speaking of the rosters, we're going to go straight into it and have a look and see who will be playing this evening. And I can see it straight away. It's Dari, Reese, Junica, the one you were talking about before, Blackout and Shattered. And we've got Kixer, Kimbay, Turtle, Weston, and Panari.
Yes.
There he
Panari, the chef, he makes his debut in Prem. I would have never have thought I would have seen this day. But Panari, I don't know how he's managed to get himself on that roster.
I don't know either.
We don't know who he has friends with.
The Panari is such an icon.
I can't wait to see this match, man.
It was very likely that they just posted and he went, yeah, I'll play today.
Yes,
I'll have a bit of a
I have no pancakes to make.
I'll play for you today. So I am so excited to see what happens with this game. Like,
But let's have a look at this anyway. The Horus lineup. Talk to me a little bit about demo.
A little bit.
Is
that your slang?
No, that's definitely my tie in this game.
Yeah. So yeah, there's Horus lineup. They kind of came in, after that second week, they replaced either Aquila or Epsilon. Doesn't matter. They were in here, and they surprised me, I have to say. I kind of thought that team would have been left in the dust. But no, they actually managed to get some wins on the board, which is more than we can say for other teams. And, they beat Exilium 7-5. That Wind and Rain match that they won was a mighty feat for themselves, even taking that draw last week against M&M. The team has potential. And going up against Demise, who, well, what can we say?
Well, the Horus battled Demise a few times during the Prem Promo series. Demise were often the ones that came out on top. At this point, obviously, they're playing a different roster fairly far apart. But Horus themselves, I've kind of really enjoyed their run through this season so far. They've pulled together well. They've been, you could say, the second best team to come through from the Prem Promo series, apart from T3H. They've done very, very well. But Horus themselves, they've battled. They've been consistently around the mid-table. They've been bringing the fights to a lot of teams that otherwise haven't been able to answer. And I think it's shown great swathes of knowledge and teamwork that's really brought them together towards the end of this. And I'm quite excited to see how they push on towards the playoffs and if they eventually get a LAN spot, because they're out of the remaining 4 teams. They're the underdog at this point, I would say. And they haven't had a fantastic history on LAN. So they have a lot to try and prove to the rest of the teams.
When you say about the LAN with Horus, are you talking about the last Epic LAN? Because I think that was a great example, which we saw from there. I think was it top 3 or top 4 they placed?
There were 4 teams and they placed 4th.
Oh, fantastic. Not the best way, I'm not going to lie. But then again, you can see on the Demise side, even though they won Epic, they haven't won a game in Prem. And to speak of that, I don't think it's going to matter to them too much now. They're already demoralised, straight to the ground. They've been absolutely smashed by everyone.
Technically, they don't even own that draw either, because that was actually from the Epsilon, or was it Aquila? I think it was Aquila actually who were the team that got that draw from the first week.
Yeah.
So, literally this team is, we could say, 0-5 at this time. And could it be 0-6, or could they just say, you know what, let's at least get a win?
They're against Panari.
Yeah, but, this is Demise, who literally don't play with each other anymore.
Yep.
And they're just going to go out and probably just, ranked.
Arguably, there's no way that this can go wrong, I think is what we're talking about here. But hey, I think it's going to be entertaining watch. Obviously, as we said at the very beginning of today's games are pretty chaotic off the bat. The one game that arguably mattered was built around chaotic teams. Here we are now in these past two. Nobody would have predicted a 7-1 in the previous game.
This looks as if it's actually going to be a better matchup on paper compared to what we just witnessed.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is a better match than this, the match of the group stage, as we've kind of called it. Yeah.
Basically, both teams have got nothing to gain and nothing to lose either. The only thing I would say is, like, if it demises chance to come 7th, maybe have a slightly better seed in the promo series.
Yeah.
But what more could you actually say? Obviously, I can't remember on top of my head the actual points.
There are 1 point, so if they win this, they take over Exilium, and Exilium are back to dead last, which would be very sad indeed.
It would be. It would be. But going through the maps now, give me your first opinion, Fluke, on what you think could happen here.
Love the way he blows it. I love the way he blows his hair.
Yeah, like when you have a massive sigh of relief, your head just goes. Whoop.
Yeah. You know what? I want to see an on-stream cafe. I want to round this all up.
Cafe would be.
That's all I ask
really
for.
nice.
I don't ask for much.
Yeah, an on-stream cafe that we get to cast, we get to watch it, or a bank. Yes.
I think Demise have played bank this season, or Source played bank. I know that one of these teams have played bank.
We've seen a bank, but we've not seen a cafe on stream, and there. God damn it! There it goes. Cafe's off. We've got Consulate off as well, but. Yeah, at this point, yeah, just please not something that we've seen a lot. I would prefer not to obviously see a consulate which is gone or a coastline which is gone. Border is thankfully gone as well.
You're jinxing yourself.
Yeah,
we're going to see. Okay, it's a bank.
It's a bank.
It could be worse.
It could be worse. Could have been Clubhouse. I'm kind of glad we're
Boy,
seeing
how is this going to go? Because bank is a tough map to play. That's why a lot of teams don't really go for it. Bank generically for European teams is never played in EU Pro League. Over the four play days we already had in Pro League, we've only ever seen Bank once out of the 16 matchups. We've seen it in Prem, sure, but not at a higher scale, because typically Bank, it's a map which is only safe for lands, especially in best of threes. So best of ones, that always gets banned out, because teams who, have spots in majors, what have you, they're going to be holding on to that particular map. Whereas again, in this scenario, looks as if they don't really care. Demise definitely don't care. Horus, so them actually going to bank means that we may not be seeing this going into their match against C4H on Tuesday.
But even with the map picks as well, it's not really about Demise, it's about Horus. If they do want to somehow at least try and get involved in some way, they might want to just choose a map or try and avoid a map which they may choose in the playoff stage. It's one of those things, really. It depends on the scenario of how things will pan out here in this match. But who do you think will win this game? Make sure you let us know at ESL UK in the polls and tell us what you think between Horus and Demise. And now it will be the final match of the group stages, gentlemen. And I'm going to leave it over to you guys.
Let's finish this out.
One more match, and we go to Bank. And Bank is one of those maps that's often cited alongside Villa as being potentially strat heavy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, one of the quotes that I've given about this map is almost every single completely nonsensical game that I have cast has often been on Bank, especially in LATAM, where they will just...
Yeah, but LATAM is Bank.
Yeah, LATAM on Bank is one of the most amazing things to ever watch and experience, I would say.
And that's kind of why I think the EU Pro League teams, they keep Bank, simply because if they go against LATAM teams in the majors, then they're ready to pull out, where, we see what LATAM's team do on Bank, and they're obviously going to play it.
Yep.
But if they have no info to know what the EU teams are going to do, then that's where they start to struggle.
Well, we'll see. Kaid, Habana, and Monty are the ones taken off the table
Standard.
far. Standard. We've got Mira as well. So Echo is still allowed in for the first time today.
Yeah.
Basement can be very, very influential. Slightly less so on some of the other points. So it does give you a good kind of wealth of information. But the thing about that big lobby and how much of a force it can play in pushing against the top floor on the first floor point, I say first floor point, I'm not talking about open, but at the same time today we might actually see a surprising amount of open area.
Yeah, more than likely IQ will be picked up, should be 100%. We hope it's 100%, because if you look at the bans coming in, she can now find Echoes, she can find Valkyries, she can find Mozzie drones, she can find Goo mines. Already 4 big things that she can try and get off the board, which always is going to help in that long run with, with the way Bank kind of goes very slow to begin with, especially in the basement where you try and take the open area, you rotate, go for the server attack. you do have to take your time already. I think we're going to be seeing the aggression coming in from Demise as they have opened up an extension right in towards, of course, that Tellers and Archives area. And that's always a bit of a weird one that we see, especially for the basement.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is one of those points that we talk about kind of well-known defaults and that main wall and how you're going to try and surgically implant yourself and get the plant down inside that little dug-in corner, especially when you know you're going to be watched by an Echo drone on this point. But they've bought the Maverick to get a bit of hatch control outside of the use of Urbana. Kimbe is bringing the gridlock, but they're bringing a fast push, Horus. They're going straight into Shattered, who finds 2 downs in and amongst it. Can he get a frag out of it? No! Panari is the one to stop Shattered's run. Also gets dropped down as Blackout finds Panari, but with 2 downs and suddenly Horus, they're in a bit of a tight spot. 3 downs for Horus. 3 of them are currently on the floor. It's just down to Western. And we still have 2 minutes and 20 left. Look at the Horus players crawling around, living up to Turtle's name. Zafia tries to get to her feet, but is cut down short. They want to get somebody up. Gonna try and risk it on Kimbe. Western has to do something, and I don't think Demise, well,
He bled out.
Turtle just bled out there. Didn't want to risk anything. And Dowie with 2, but were they really his? Well.
Oh my. For a time there, the injured outnumbered the dead.
It's just, it was like they all slipped on the run in there.
My God. Because I kind of seen that conversion. Whenever you see all 5 players spawn in towards that jewelry front, and they all go down the tunnel, you know things are going to get spicy. And boy, did they. I have to give credit. Shattered, 2 downs, holding his ground. My God, I can
only imagine the scream he gave off, though.
Yeah, it's like all of them. I don't even think he had time to speak. He was just too in the moment.
No, that was, well, I think that was a taste of what's to come. I assume they're not going to go for the same thing again, but they have generally bought a similar loadout. They're still bringing a bit of soft destruction, obviously pushing a different point. Horus, well, not overwhelming.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
Yeah, it's expected, I think. Demise, you know, they're not really playing this too much. They've not really played too much so far across this entire season, but both these guys, they've played together quite a lot. They've got kind of good rapport, and I think they're just going to kind of mess around the same way we saw in the previous. I feel like there'll be more rounds going either way this time. I don't think we're going to see another 7-1, but maybe I say that in before another 7-1. Heading to the top floor, and I notice a little bit of ACOG coming from the side of Demise, and that was always one of the terrifying things. Is Blackout going to go for a run out across that spawn there? They shattered.
Oh, Shattered's going for it. Back you go, kiddo. Back you go.
Yeah, it's one of those things on Bank where even in your ranked games you expect that. Blackout does trade out Western in the meantime. That's IQ off the table. That's a nice take. Obviously, you assume Valky's already done all of her setting up work, but to take care of the IQ when you still have an Echo on the board and those Valkyrie cameras is a terrifying prospect for anyone to need to push against it. They're going to have to be much more aware of what they're throwing themselves into now, as KXCA is looking for a quick way against these walls to allow the Maverick and the Thermite to start breaking into this CEO's office.
So the quick frags already from that spawn peak that Shattered tried to go for, and like I'm a very good friend of Shattered. Me and Shattered are very good friends, but there is moments where I always think, how can you still play Siege with the plays you do? I always question, why does he do that? And I'll have to get a strong, stern word into him after what I've just witnessed.
Yeah, you give him a plug his ear and find out what he was trying with that Valk run out spawn peak. It was almost like Blackout was like, I'm going to do this, and Shattered like pushed them out the way.
Ooh.
Good quick trades there. Dowie's off the table with Blackout finding KX in the meantime, but that is that CEO office wall open. They're just going to try and hold that with that dock angle and see if they can get a bit more aggression as the other section of wall goes off. Kimbe just kind of stood waiting for a rotation from underneath, but Reese drops Panari in the meantime. Thermite's done their job, but they have fallen to the guns from inside. It is now just down to the Maverick and the gridlock against 3 defenders, including an Echo, which is, again, not a nice thing to go against ever. Pre-firing down that side corridor towards the opening of Banana. No bites yet. Maverick's looking for a way in. There is someone creeping around on main stairs, however. Whether that might bite the back of the Maverick as they try and creep against the Doc, who's still trying to hold the long angles against Kimbe. Junica finds Kimbe. And there is Reese closing around the back of the Janitors to finish the round off. 2-0 to Demise.
We said aggression was the name of the game, and it is being played to its fullest extent. And I think we're going to see much more of a trend here, Fluke, whenever we look at Bank as a map where it's very open. You know, literally there's a room called Open Area for a reason. And I think that the fact that Demise are bringing ACOGs. You know, they're bringing operators who don't bring all that much utility. They're literally playing for the guns. They're playing for the frags. Horus, again, they seem to be rushing things. They seem to be going for the aggression, but the way that they're doing it, it's single file. It's one by one. They're taking these one-on-one gunfights, and nobody's there for a refrag if they lose that.
And, you know, it's chaotic, I think, is the only word, and it's a word that I've thrown around quite a lot today. They're flinging themselves at this map. They're almost playing a ranked play style, but they're taking it in turns to throw themselves to the slaughter. And as we've seen from Exilium, it doesn't really work too much on the attack if you are too spread out and you're in too tight of a position. Yes, the first time round, they did push as a unit towards that basement along the single tunnel, but they were quickly torn apart by just one plucky MPX against the world. And now we'll see if they can find another way to start putting pressure. It looks like Shattered has been demoted off of the Valkyrie to Mozzie. They're going to give him a slightly shorter operator and slightly more particular drones and say, you've got to do a little bit more work before you jump out and start trying to get frags.
Shattered's going to jump out again.
Yeah, probably. But hey, how are you going to stop him?
Just with a gun.
It's just team kill. It would be. It might be
I would TK, but unfortunately I'm not there.
No, it might be the first intentional team kill we see inside this season, though. I could be wrong.
If I could make him drop 0 kills, I would.
Yeah, well.
You think I'm joking?
No. Well, I know you guys played together in the promo series.
Man, he's my executive producer in all my videos I make.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Ah.
He was the one who fought off Kendra with a 7-0 hammer.
Ah, okay.
Which I think is very fitting with how Na'Vi are kind of dominating. Maybe we should have done a 7-1, because that's what Na'Vi kind of do more, 7-1 victories than 7-0s.
He's the ideas guy.
Yeah, he is. And, you know, the next installment of the Prem will be coming.
If you
very
think,
soon.
okay, is it weird then that he's a great ideas guy for videos, but his siege ideas, as you've said, are more questionable?
Like, alright, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Shattered, under a great IGL, will excel, but if you don't have that great IGL, then he's not going to. And Demise has struggled with finding that voice in that team for so long. That, again, is the reason why I think the downfall of Demise kind of began, was they never really had anybody who would front up and make those main calls. It was always a little bit of a, okay, who wants to make it? Okay, I'll have a go at it. You were missing some of this. Okay, I'll have a go. It was just basically, I think I could do it better, but in reality, they couldn't.
Well, it looks like KX is well aware of someone just underneath. Is going to try and bounce a flash against Blackout, who is creeping under those lobby stairs and wanted them to re-peek it, but no, KX has actually just flashed it and ran away. Isn't going to try and pick the firefight against Blackout. I say it, they're just trying to dig open this vertical hold. Obviously, you've always got to be concerned about them rotating back round, but Turtle has the other side covered of the lobby stairs and cuts the Doctor in half. Shattered is now just holding the door as Junica's playing around inside open, making sure no one pushes against the opposite side and gets it open. But with a minute left, they've got to start converging towards the point. There's only so much vertical you can open as Junica drops, I believe, his fellow countryman Panari.
Panari, where's he been? Is he currently cooking at the time that he's also playing? Hope not. Shard, there he goes, trying to get a little bit frisky with the Maverick. And again, it's what we've seen from Secret in the previous game against Na'Vi, where they open up, you know, do the Maverick trick, where you get rid of the reinforced walls. And now Demise, well, they're in a bit of a poor position. There's Dowie and Reese, they will have to try and respond. Reese does one. Still a 2 versus 3. Dowie doesn't have a Nitro Cell either, so he cannot deny the plant at distance if he finds an opportune moment. But nobody's upstairs, he can try and utilize the holes in the floor. that Horus have left for him. This could be crucial. Reese tries to run back in towards the bomb site, but it's the pressure on Dowie. He doesn't know that the other side is where the plant will try and come in. But not enough time. Reese actually stops the plant and will find the kill, so it's up to Western. He has to go for the defuse, but Dowie's above. Dowie, you can stop the plant. No! Dowie, you missed him. And now it goes into a 1v2 for Dowie to try and retake in. Try and pre-fire in, but no, Turtle's there. So close. Unfortunate there from Dowie. You would have thought he had that, but just that cover was being able to be applied there from that little bit of, I don't even know what that is, that cover he was behind.
No, I don't know.
It's kind of like,
a good name.
you know, it's like plastering kind of thing, you know, I don't know.
It's one of those names that I'm sure people in chat are like, it's called this,
But
it's
like
called this.
It's like, if you've ever seen like a call center before, it's like, you know,
Yep.
the...
Oh, they're like wall dividers.
Yeah, like the wall divider things.
Yeah, the depressing little boxes.
How did we get onto this topic? You know what?
This day of siege and this heat of studio has brought us to this
It
point.
is very warm, I must say.
It is very warm in England recently. 2-1. Now, Horus take a round that out of the 3, I would say looked most like a round of Rainbow Six Siege. The first 2 were slightly questionable at points. Locker CCTV. Reese is bringing Caveira. 6-pick from Frost to Caveira. 2 very alternate play styles there. Shattered is now on Ella, really just drifting around operators, and Dowie is actually going to pick up the Mozzie this time, so it's almost like he's getting seconds to every operator that Shattered runs out first. Whether that's going, okay, you play this, or I'll show you how to play this, I guess we'll never truly know. But I'm curious to see if they're going to try and recreate a Eunice moment here with Reese going for an interrogate.
We haven't had a Caveira interrogation this season so far.
Have we not?
I don't think so. We had it last season, though, on Bank. And I think that was like the secret game.
Yeah.
It was actually secret M&M, now Navi, so pretty much what we seen last time.
Yep.
There was an interrogation in that match, but we haven't seen one this season. So can Reese do the miracle in the final match?
I mean, if this is a place, the thing is, I was talking when I said earlier, I've seen every single crazy match has happened on this. I would argue that this is maybe the map where the legend of the 92 Dream Team really came to light, with the plays that were brought out on this Bank map. And for those who haven't seen the 92 Dream Team match on Bank, if you search that on YouTube, it will be the top result, and I recommend watching the entire thing because that is a feast for all of your senses. Creepy Crawly Cav, however, is maybe going to run into way more operators than they think. KX actually spins and does a double take, gives away the information. The amount of cover there is really putting pressure on this Cav. 3 people there, we had another second for Reese. They're looking for the third, but Judica has the shoulder covered. And I don't think Caveira expected to see anywhere near as many people as she did breaching towards her stock trading room.
Now, that is what we call a Caveira special, along with Unica just there. Great crossfire, have to give credit to Junica there. It really helped out Reese, and Reese is still a menace, he's still a threat. You know, he's wasting so much time, and really, he's done the business. He's took out all the free speed, so the aggression isn't going to be able to be applied by Horus, is what they would like to do. Oh, Reese! Stop it! Stop it now! It's all down to Panari, the chef. Can he slice and dice up the Caveira over Reese, and another one to his rally?
Well, Panari has accidentally rotated down through Janet, as I think he was just trying to get out of the firefight, but now he's pushing through open, and it is, yet again, his fellow countryman that ends his life and the round, the first flawless in the favor of Demise. 3-1 on a, well, loose and ready hold there. Yet again, it was fast motion from Horus. It was on the opposite side of the map, and yet again, it completely fell apart to an unexpected man who didn't expect the push, and, well, it was an unexpected result.
So coordinated aggression is a playstyle that is viable in Siege. Horus are playing uncoordinated aggression, which is not
a less viable playstyle. Yes, they're not really bringing themselves together as a team. Obviously, at this point, they have things to potentially hide, but at the same time, you know, this is a potential match for just having, like, setting a bar for themselves.
If you're a team that doesn't want to, you know, maybe doesn't utilize their drone capabilities, and, you know, nobody wants to go on the drone, you don't want to take it slow, you just want to play fast and aggressive, that's fine. You know, we've seen this before from teams. But the difference is that Horus They are just pushing one way. There's no crossfire set up whatsoever. If you know there's a Caveira inside of stock trading, why isn't there a guy in the double window putting pressure?
Well, that was it. We saw them, that there was someone out on the balcony, but they didn't.
Far too late, though.
Far too late, and they didn't apply pressure immediately. It was like the emergency services showed up, but also just checked their texts a little bit first to make sure that they could approach, and then did it after everybody was already dead. And even just popping a few bullets towards one of those windows and dropping it and giving that Caveira a little bit more to think about could have been the difference. Panari,
First kill, yeah.
First kill, takes out Blackout. I think this is the start of him having had enough, and he needs to start flying the flag of Finland, and he will fly it proudly as we go for this CEO push. It seems like Horus are taking their time a little bit. They did last time they pushed CEO as well. They tried to get a bit of control, but obviously they did drop the Valkyrie from a run out against Spawn very quickly. KX is just going to pre-fire towards Janitors where they suffered previously, and they just, again, a lot of droning coming ahead of them as they try to get these main walls open. Now, as we said before, it just turned into a bit of a long-distance firefight with ACOGs, and we're seeing more and more ACOGs bought from the favor of Demise this time around. Obviously, they've already lost Doc, who was a big part of it last time, but Shattered is now playing the Rook, and yet again, Dowie has picked up an operator Shattered has played before with the Echo on the table again. You know, it's a good balance of what they want, and there is the MPX showing what it can do. Dowie flips to Panari and then takes him out of the equation now as more and more people try and shimmy on through the same door. Turtle gets shattered over the shoulder, and there's another large amount of bullets, but as we said, it's a proper pea shooter, and Kimbe lives to walk another day. Gridlock just suffering a little bit of scratches. This is down to about 30% health.
Dowie has an Archer Cell, and one thing that I kind of question about the position that Dowie's in, if you're a Valkyrie, you want to be below, because typically that entire Teller's Archives goes untouched by the attackers. Does make up for it though, with a kill, as we did see Turtle try to swing on round, but he should be below. He has an Nitro Cell. You can deny the plant, especially for the top floor whenever it really is, you know, the timer, whenever it starts to tick and tick and tick, that's whenever Horus will start to go in for their plant, because they'll just wait. They'll wait about and until Demise peek their heads, they'll sit back. Both of them now in stock trading, and this is the thing. I don't like the fact that Horus are trying to push in from just one direction. They're not setting up any crossfire. Sure, they have refrag potential, but if you're going up against said crossfire from Demise, which they've been putting on time and time again, you're just going to hit a brick wall, which you can never get over.
Well, you can see now Dowie is just going to try and hold the angles. They've crept towards stock trading side. The Gridlocks are going out, and there is Reese with the cover against Western all the way from Kanto. And now it's just covering the one final push here from an already injured Gridlock, and Dowie locks it down for the triple with a celebratory shake and a C4 on a teammate. That is, hey, I love seeing that MPX. And we said before, Ladam loved that MPX as a fragging gun. We said before, Ladam loved Bank. It's all coming together. It's an old-fashioned Latam play style I'm seeing.
Yeah, you jump out and try and get the kills.
Exactly.
But again, what's the difference that you see from looking at Demise compared to Horus?
I mean, they're spread out. They're covering angles.
Crossfires.
They're crossfiring.
Yes, exactly. That's it.
And we've seen it a couple of times very beautifully shown, like when Caveira was quickly sprung upon that round. And then 2 rounds earlier, like when Shattered was quickly sprung upon, there was someone very quickly covering from both the server stairs and then from the point as well. They instantly converged to set up 3 different angles, 3 different covers, and you know, they're working very well as a team, which has been unfortunate because we've not really been able to say that a huge amount about Demise this season. No,
Demise have, well, currently at the moment, they're now the worst team in Prem. But they have a chance to not take that title and hand the torch back over to Exilium, which I'm sure they don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole.
No, I don't think anyone wants that, but Exilium more so. The only thing that would make their day sadder would be to be told, oh, you're also now back in last place. The team that is disbanding has overtaken you.
It's been such a rough time for Exilium. My heart really does go out to them.
My boys, even in other games, we're like, yeah, but we're still sad about Exilium.
I'm still sad about it, man. I'm sitting here thinking, not like this, but it was like this. Right, so look at this. This is intriguing. triple hatch reinforcement for a Teller's Archive. So we're going to see a heavy, heavy extension into Office. And whenever Habana is banned, this makes a lot of sense. Because if you know a team's going to thermite a hatch, you know they're committing to taking that open and you can readjust. So I like the adaptation that Demise have taken in from. But could we just see the quick walk-in from Horus? We'll see one guy just over by that lone Office. And well, Kimbe takes full advantage of that as a gridlock. So Horus, they don't care about the roam game. They're just going full brunt force in, and they're going to try and take it by storm.
Well, you can see they've thrown the gridlocks out to kind of cover a bit of the movement as well. Junica wants to put a bit of pressure against it, but with the castle there, they cannot go for a swing peek the way they expect. So the defense is just kind of funneled the same way the attack is. They have no more cover over the top. They're just going to start firing bullets as the thermited wall starts to get cracked open. Junica's going to rotate out a little bit, make sure there's no one doing an immediate press, and is now going to go for the jump out over the top. Blackout has also doubled up there as well, but I believe Horus still have someone playing very far and wide out on those lobby windows. The plant is going down, the deep gridlock throw, and Western finds Blackout from the front door. The second drops down, and there's the cover from Western as well. Shattered does get Kimbe, but yet again, we are on this point in a post-plant situation. And now it is just trying to battle their way through, swinging and pinging shots like it's the Western game mode, but nobody is landing anybody apart from Panari, and is suddenly down 2 Shattered on the Legion. His 6th round, I believe, his 6th different operator, and half the time left, but Western living up to his name and shutting down all of those enemies.
Now, that is what we call a perfect example of tunnel vision for the kill. And that's exactly what those 2 players of Demise went for. They knew one was inside a lone Office, and they just tried to jump in and try and go for those frags. And again, just literally ignoring everything else around them. And that's how Western managed to pick up that quick double. Literally makes no sense what Demise did.
No, they swung themselves over the top. They realized that, well, we're not going to be able to take this castle down without giving a huge amount of information. I wasn't 100% sure if they had any impacts left or what they were running on Castle's utility.
That didn't even matter because they had the Maverick calls looking down into that corridor anyway. So that basically forced them to take upstairs. But in that scenario, wouldn't have been, you know, the more common thing was to try and frag out anybody in the immediate lobby and then try and jump down together. Because realistically, if that guy's inside of that office, is he really going to affect you if you're jumping on the other side of office? Or lobby, should I say?
That's the
No,
thing.
he's just going to be holding that one angle. And sure, if he peeks, it's a one-way angle. You know exactly where he's coming from. So in that scenario, Demise, they just played it poor. They tried to go for the kills, and they got punished.
4-2. Not the biggest split in the world, but this is where the questions are going to start to come in for Demise. They're now pushing against Horus's defense. That is, yes, at times been fast and at times been messy, but they are a team that's been very solid throughout this season so far. So it depends how loose they're going to decide to play it. Clash currently trying to push against the top of square stairs is a curious decision, but also they're against a Lion and a Blitz, and I am already angry just to see
here we go again. We're going to see the quick rush. This time it's from Demise. Panari gains so much intel, a wild C4 back to no avail. Goes fishing, lands nothing. This is where a quick smoke canister, this is great utility. They're using it early so they can set up for the appropriate rush. That clash is going to be the bane of Demise. As she can stand there, gain intel, deny the push. This Lion Blitz combo will be stopped in its tracks. We hope so, because there is a lot of members from Horus ready for this push. Clash gaining the intel, like we talked about, will come up against the other shield. But as it goes, it's going to be a stalemate, slowing down for Demise. One of them tries to come in and swing up from atop. That's going to be a lot of pressure on the man going to try and push in towards that server. That Blitz still there, gaining intel as well. Looks to be the Lion will go up against the Clash, but Clash doesn't know the Lion's going to be coming down. There's the intel being fed, and this is where you would expect the refrag from Horus to come in. Panari looking to swing around, but no, still holding tight as another E1D charge comes in, but still nothing comes of it. So Demise have wasted so much utility, so have Horus, but Horus are in the better position because they still hold control of the server room.
Now Panari is looking to pick up this fight that he generally and arguably started, but no, he cannot as the roof starts to collapse above, does the smart move and rotates out, leaving just the clash inside. Kimbe is going to dig in for as long as they can and reverses out like a truck with the skill driven by Hank Hill, and now they are back inside the safety of the point, and they have a bit more control and a bit more eyes. A minute 20, and this has been fast and chaotic the whole time. They're going for a triple flank here. The three of them, including a clash, are going to try and collapse around the back, slightly covered by one man, that is Maverick. If they can shut him down, they'll have a bit more control. Just going to zap him, keep him slow, and Turtle is there to cover him up. They have a little bit of sight lines open from those Maverick holes. KX has gone deep and finds Reese above the other drop down. Great movement, and now Dowie, Shattered, and Blackout are in a little bit of a tight spot. The pressure is coming from multiple different angles. Clash is still there. Blackout finds Weston, Kixer finds one, Dowie and Panari picking up trades, and Panari with the double to end a round that was as chaotic as it was beautiful.
Horus, they hold on. The Eagle still flies. Demise, if you're going to commit to a rush, you go for the rush. You don't back down. You're the attacker. You should put fear into the enemy. Sure, there's a Toxic Babe being thrown. That Toxic Babe's only going to do about 35 damage to a Blitz by the time he sprints through it. Demise should never have stopped there. The fear got the better of them, and they got absolutely torn apart from it.
It was the Panari C4, wild thrown, bought them enough time.
I think it was a Toxic Babe. That C4 didn't do
I'm
much.
just giving shout-outs to Panari at this point. I'm #1 fan club of Panari. Exec Lounge and the CEO we go to. Clash 6 picked off for Valk. Gonna throw a bit of caution to the wind there. We still have Lion on the table from Dowie, bringing the diffuser as well. That's potentially going to be a constant through the rest of these rounds because, hey, it's allowed now. As terrifying as it still may be, and as many petitions may still get filed, it is fine to play. Alibi is the pickup for the first time today from Panari's hands, and I'm curious where those are going to be thrown.
John Cena has been banned by Battle Eye, so you really cannot see him now.
No, poor John. He just doesn't get a break, does he?
What? That's the most random thing that could happen.
3-4 we find ourselves in. I'm curious if Demise are going to go with the same kind of pepper that we saw them attempt on the previous point. Obviously, they've dropped the Blitz in favor of actually having a bit more kind of fragment potential. They have grenades now. They have the soft destruction pairing of Reese and Shattered, as well as Junica with those frag grenades, as previously mentioned. You know, they've opted to not go with hard destruction against this point. They're going to try and take it as rough and ready as they can, and it's Dowie that's going to go for the windows with the diffuser.
Intriguing setup, I would say, from Demise. I always thought they were going to go for a rush again straight in through lobby, but quite smartly from Western, he will go ahead and use another Toxic Babe. So Horus are not afraid of using utility to give themselves a better chance of getting into position so they can adapt. That's what I like to see from Horus's. You know, a lot of teams don't want to waste utility like that, but in that scenario, it could have been the life or death situation, just like what we seen last time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the thing about it is there's always the things that defenders and attackers are playing against, and a good defender, they eat utility and they use utility, and it's the balance of that. Yes, smoke is one that you should hold till late game, but if you know that they're going to be playing fast and hard, and you know that one of your remote gas is going to not only stumble them, which is if they've got their mindset, we're going, oh, what do we do? At the same time, it allows your team to get themselves back up around. They've triggered the line to give themselves a bit of a movement. KX is lucky to get out of the way of the approaching Maverick as the second goes off, but Maverick doesn't care, gets the kill through it. Panari, in the meantime, finds Reese, and Blackout desperately wants to get up these stairs, but the gas is taking a while to clear as the second Lion charge it goes off. Doesn't see the man close to the right, instead sees a different, and it's just going to push further and further into point, finds Turtle, and
You seen him?
again.
He's seen him. There we go,
There we
Blackout.
go.
Nice stuff from him, a triple kill. He could be on for the ace, but no, Kimbe shuts that down before it gets any crazier for the ex-Wind and Rain player. So Kimbe, Panari, can the chef cook up anything spicy to definitely tempt us? Shattered will start to approach in along with Lion. Junik in the corridor, Panari from the long desk. We will find Another Finn on the board. So it goes into a 2v2. Panari swinging on round. Another one from him. Triple kill. Dowie falls. Shattered. 1v2. The tags come in now into a 1v1. Panari falls. The Chef Hat is down. The Chef Hat is down, I repeat. And Shattered loses it out. Kimbe clutches up Horus. A great round from them. Demise, the throw.
Yeah, for how it kind of swayed in their favor, how deep Blackout got onto point by accident, and then picked up a frag in point, and then went further out to pick up another frag. You know, and then it just kind of all started to fall apart. Yet again, when the push comes to shove, they seem to stumble. And it is an unfortunate thing to see. Horus bring themselves back into level pegging for the first time this game. And it's looking better and better for them. Obviously, Panari has started to light up as a fragger across these previous rounds as well, after going, I believe, 3 or 4 rounds before he actually got his first on the board. Now he's getting triples like it's nobody's business. Here is the Teller's hold, though. Again, Lion still on the board. Mute, 6th for Mute. A pro strategy if we ever did see one. I quite like that, depending on the range and depending on the Lion, because if they're going to set those up purely as a way to disguise a little bit of movement around a Lion push, it could become very, very potent and very, very powerful for them. Well, we'll see how they decide to go against it now. Kimbe is actually running around with the Valk, trying to throw those cams up deep into square. And otherwise, it's just ACOGs from Panari at this point. Curious how they're going to decide if they're going to start matching Demise's aggression, really.
Again, we've talked about M&M and their kind of momentum that they bring whenever they start getting rounds on the board. Horus are more than capable of doing the same thing. And could we be seeing the potential sweep? Horus, we've said this before, their defenses are very strong. You know, they kind of rival teams like T4H with their defenses as well. Yep. For you in this kind of league, here's just a random question. What team do you think has the best attacking capabilities, minus Secret or Na'Vi? You're not allowed to say those things.
Minus Secret on Na'Vi? Oh, at the minute, I would say T3H for me. I've seen them do...
I would disagree.
Yeah, it's fair. What I like about T3H's attacks, and I guess this is from a long time of watching them find their feet, is they've really learnt from their movements. They've learnt from their mistakes, and they used to make a lot of mistakes on their attacks. They used to really suffer and stumble across them. Their defenses were okay, good enough to get them into the Prem, but they were never really the strongest showing team during the qualifiers and the promos. They've kind of learned and developed as time has gone on, and their attacks are one of those things where I think when they get confident, they do well. But wow, what is this? Western with the shotgun, KX getting a few as well. Suddenly Demise are down to just one person standing as Turtle shows off with that pistol. Junica is the only one left, breaking in by himself on the southwestern side. That was an absolutely brutal attempted entry.
Yeah, Junica gets one for his troubles, but still mighty mountain to climb. Pulls out the pistol, trying to go for the long shot, but no, the 416's there. Horus looking more deadly on the defense. And I kind of said, what team looks, the best in attacks. It literally seems to be any team that isn't Na'Vi or Secret just can't attack at all. I would honestly be curious to see the actual defender side. I'm going to do that whenever I go home. I'm going to have a look up and see how many rounds were actually defender won compared to attackers.
That is fair. It is definitely where we see these guys stumble the most, is they don't seem to be able to deal with their attack strategies. When things start to fall apart, and it's the often forgotten thing is, yes, defensively, you have a setup time, you think about your setup time and you work out what you're going to do. An attack can often be reacting to a defense. But at the same time, look at teams that are great on attack. Look at teams like Empire. Look at teams like G2. Vitality, especially, they have strategies. They run strategies to a complete needle point.
All three of those teams that we mentioned, Vitality, Empire, and G2, all different playstyles on their attack. Empire, the same thing over and over again, yet it works. We still have no idea how that anomaly exists. G2, the Swiss Army knife of Siege, where they can attack anything with any playstyle. And then Vitality, who literally created the Vitality type of play.
The thing about the Vitality type of play as well is if you're not used to it, it's
that's where Vitality excels against NA teams, against LATAM teams. But whenever you get to EU, everybody expects. Everybody knows
that it's that final 15 is what you've got to be scared about with Vitality. But nobody can replicate their attack style. And that is exactly right. These teams generally suffer because they don't have a plan, they don't have a fruition. They will bring a select set of operators that are common, but they don't run it as a strategy. And it's half of the game. Half of your game is going to be on attack, roughly. You know this, and you've got to kind of set yourself these standards to try and carry more than let's get this wall down, let's get this wall down and try and plant here. You've got to think, right, well, how do we get control? How are we going to try and move this? How are we going to try and move the defenders? Are we going to try and make them burn utility? Are we against a roam heavy team? Are we going to kind of look through this? This is always the argument for coaches as well. And I know that there's been a few posts on Twitter recently where some great coaches out there, like Jess, like Amurda, like obviously the G2 guys, Sua, and Analyst. And these are the people that I've seen the post by, and obviously all the other coaches that I haven't mentioned, is people say, we often get people going, are we just bad players and we're not good enough to play? And it's like, they have such an integral role, because those are the guys saying exactly what we're saying, much better.
Yeah, whenever you said, bad players, it sounds like us.
We're bad players. Yeah, bad players go into casting, especially me.
Oh, Kimbe, take a back seat as the Nomad. That big counter to the shield will come into your play. We're seeing the power of Lion. We haven't even touched upon Lion this match, Fluke, and we've had this discussion. Is Lion really that OP? I think not. I really don't think so.
I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just horrible to deal with, but like the way that Jackal is horrible to deal with.
I just don't think. It's annoying. It's not the life or death scenario. Whenever I see Lion, I just think, oh, they have a Lion. It's not that much of an issue. I really don't think so. It's...
That was a bold C4 attempt. That was the man tried to yeet, and he did not yote. Struggle to make that meet as they're just going to push up against it. Nomad has used all of her air jabs and they're still in the garage with no real ground made. A 4 versus 2, and it's generally 2 just fraggers at this point. Panari is feeding that information from that staircase, and there's more and more pressure coming. The pings are coming out. It just runs into a firefight, manages to find one in and amongst it, down to just a revolver with several different bullets. Finds a second, but Western is there with the shotgun to end that round.
Well, the sweep has been initiated. And Horus, they go up again. My God, such a performance from Horus. They have put in such a shift, and they are on match point as we go into round number 11. Could just be the dream for Horus, a just completely sweep. What do you think about Horus? Do you think this is a map that we could potentially see them have on Tuesday in their best of 3, or do you think they'll probably save something else? I don't think they would play Bank if they were, if they were going to play it, they wouldn't play it here.
No, that's the thing. I mean, they haven't massively been the team that's been banning Bank out much. They've been quite malleable with their bans. The only couple that in recent history they've kind of double banned up is Villa and Cafe. So they do like to kind of hide their strat heavy maps. And as I said, if I go back to the point that I almost finished about me complimenting coaches and analysts and how important they are in formulating attack strategies, Amurda, who is the coach for Horus, is one that does love working on strats, and he's always posting and he's taking responsibility and trying to bring fresh ideas to the game, like the other ones that I listed before, like Justin Sura and all the others. And and I think that definitely reflects in the playstyle. Is we've seen the lowest of Horus, but then we've also seen them excel on these strat-heavy maps, and that is the sign of good coaching.
I have a lot of respect for coaches. I know that the workload they go in. I seen Shas's laptop at Paris with all of his stuff in it.
Yep.
My God.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I was trying not to mention him. I tried to give a bit of a shout out to Sua, but he defined what modern, as far as I've been told at least, he's kind of defined modern coaching for Siege.
He literally has hundreds and hundreds of documents.
Yeah.
It is absurd. He basically tells me, oh yeah, I watch a match 3 times before I write anything down. I just don't know how people could be that smart. Because I, for sure, I hate homework. I see that as homework. I hated homework at school.
No, that's fair.
Which, keep in mind, wasn't that long ago.
I struggle with Excel, so I'm never going to make I suck at the game. I struggle at
just
Excel.
write down some notes.
Cast.
That's all we do.
That's all I do. I shout very loudly. But shout out to coaches. That's enough of us giving shout outs to coaches. Let's finish watching the players for now, because they've got a little bit more to wrap up here. Here comes the pressure. For the first time, I think we're going to enter the 1 minute 50 mark with every single player still standing.
It's a new territory for us, wouldn't you say?
At this point, normally, at least a Demise player is dead.
That's true. Nobody's up for the spawn kill, but Blackout, he actually strikes first, and the first bleed will be on the side of Horus. Look, Demise, they're inside of the supply closet, but not a lot can really happen from here. That wall is soft, so if if Reese wants to go for a breach around, he can go for that. Shatter will try and give the cover. He has the diffuser. We can just see literally Shatter could walk through the hole and plant directly by that hole, where, you know, that's a bit of a blind spot there, and you have to go for the wall bind to eliminate him. But Shatter just holding his ground. Turtle trying to swing on in. He will find said Shatter as Panari puts one onto Reese, so both of the players inside supply closet, they're gone. The remaining 3 players of Demise, they're over on the north side, and all the players of Horus have to do is just sit back and wait until the repels start coming in.
Well, they have those angles covered. Junica finds Weston a pretty big take, because Weston has been having a very, very good game, and it's the smoke off the table. Panari is looking for that window firefight, but is also happy to start putting pressure up. Kanto as well did get a kill previously and almost struggled to get a kill on that drone. It's just going to go back to shooting at the window. Turtle as well is stuck inside long desk, and there is Dowie. Bring it to a 1 versus 3. Turtle manages to balance it off just a little bit. There's 30 seconds. The diffuser is still cold. Turtle with the triple kill has completely brought this round back into his favor now, and it is suddenly a 20-second 1 versus 1. 1 HP and a dream is what Junica is playing with right now. Needs to find the diffuser, wants to push the firefight instead, knows exactly where the man is, but that does not make his job any easier. Turns away from the flash. Beautiful motions, going for a wide run. He's going to try and plant on the opposite side. The information is being spread. He's covered, he's faked, he's phony. He's gonna run out of time.
Turtle played it to a T. My God, Demise, so close. Yeah, again, another loss. So Demise, what can we say? They put up a valiant effort. We have to commend them. But Junica, honestly, he could have stuck that plan. He could have.
Thing that I notice, yet again, is they've got another 7-4. I think out of all of their games this season, over half of them for Demise have ended in them being on 4 rounds and the other team being on 7. They are cursed. And that's the only point I'm going to make from this.
Bit of a trend, that, the old 4-7, which is a shame, but
yes.
never, ever in their favour throughout the entire season. It was a bit of a shame, you know. Demise, they showed a glimmer of hope at the start. Things weren't going too bad for them, in all fairness, you know, putting Horus on their toes. But then instead, Horus decided to change things up a bit and go, well, you know what, I'm not having that at all. And decided to take that one even more comfortably heading off, which is, what do you think has changed with this Horus team in terms of like that second half? Because you saw, like I mentioned before, Demise had a great start, seemed to be on point with a few things, but then, you know, it kind of crumbled. Did it crumble for Demise, or did Horus just step things up a little bit?
On the attack, it kind of seemed that Horus were trying some new strategies, which didn't really pay off to themselves. I still think that they need to get out of this one-dimensional play. Their refrags, or not necessarily their refrags, but their crossfires need to be a heck of a lot better, or T4H, they will punish them heavily, and we could see a quick 2-0 come in from that playoff, especially if we see this Horus turn up on Tuesday. Sure, their defenses were good, but equally, you know, even look, you've said, you kind of fancy T4H in the attack in that match.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy their attacks. I think that they find their feet, and I think they show semblances of the other teams that we have seen these players play for, because obviously they have some long historied players that come together as a roster. They're only going to getting tighter. They're participating in more and more competitions. They're off in Valencia this weekend, I believe. So, and it's a tough set of games they're going to be going against, but you know, we'll see if that can kind of shape them and put them.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Demise turn out after this season closes. And, you know, the roster mania, the switcheroo during the off-season of the Prem. I'll be curious to see what actually pans out. We're going to see a lot of that, of course, once the players have been done and dusted. But a bit of a weird one, really, because, you know, with Horace, we weren't really too sure about their offline record. So even if they do qualify for the Prem finals, how are they going to react when they actually do it on main stage?
That's always a tough one, especially for Horace, who, you know, come into it. They've never been to a Prem finals before. Don't have the big flashy lights, the big stage, of course, getting used to that. You know, if Horace pull out the, I'd say, upset against T4H, because certainly, you know, you can't have to favour T4H with everything they have going for
Tall
themselves.
order.
You know, we heard what Doki said, who isn't a tall order. Let's get that straight out of the bag. You know, he said he fancies T4H. They have a lot of potential. It's going to be a big fight for Horace, and if they pull it off, then hey, at least they get to go to finals.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's, in a weird way, I'm kind of glad Horace have already had one horrible experience at a LAN, because that prepares you. And as I said before, you know, a good team pulls together from stuff when it goes wrong. You learn from your mistakes, and yeah, they had a horrible time, but it's better to lose it at a LAN like that than lose it at the final after something that you've been working on for weeks and weeks and weeks. Don't get me wrong, they've still got to play their way through, but they're in a mindset now. They're in a build-up now. They're heading potentially to another LAN where they can kind of make a mark. And I think T3H are going to find more of a fight than they expect.
Yeah, you can't actually, you know, with offline tournament experience, you can't be. At least they've got something underneath their belt. I've seen teams where even at a social LAN, you know, they may play well, and still an offline tournament, they'll still do worse. It doesn't matter, you know, you've got to feel it in the moment. You've got to experience it, I think. It's just one of those things. When you've done that first time, then you think, okay, right, you know what to expect for next time. But I hear so many teams where, you know, where they're at a social LAN, you know, maybe swimming against another team, practicing for a UK event or any event across the world, they don't realise the outcome because the tournament experience, it's the environment, the atmosphere, which makes a massive difference.
Yeah.
But we do have an interview with Weston to find out what he thinks of that game and ask him a few bits here and there. Hello, Weston. How's things? It's been a while, actually.
Yeah, not bad. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah. Not too bad, not too bad. Now, during that map, it was, best phrase of putting it, a little bit shaky to begin with, but then you stabilised and managed to, you know, take the rest of it round 7-4. Tell me the changes you made during the course of that map.
So, when you go into this game, they had nothing to lose. They were going to play aggressive. They were going to do, you know, all sorts of things. I think we didn't clock onto it for the first majority of the attack rounds, and then that last attack round, they did some sort of strat, and that was quite an easy push because we've practiced against that sort of push, so yeah. Then on defense, we just stepped up.
And of course, now you've guaranteed your spot in the playoffs. Congratulations, of course. But one thing I was going to ask as well, you know, you'll get a rough idea of who you'll be playing against soon. Are you a little bit worried at all? And in terms of like who you may play against, because we know Eminem and T4H may be the favoured teams, but are you fussed about which one you play?
Not at all. At the end of the day, we have to play one of them. You have to just get down, grind, and hopefully we can get the win.
Yeah, that's right. And one last question as well. How much offline experience does your team have? Because we know we've seen you guys at an Epic LAN as well, but do you think even if you qualify, it will be enough to try and push through when you do maybe get to the Prem finals?
In terms of experience, I think a couple of the boys have played two Epic LANs. I've played one myself. I don't think experience I have much. We did pretty well in LAN. The majority of the time we had to, you know, hide strats and stuff, and it worked. But it is what it is. We just have to wait and see what happens.
It is what it is, exactly. But congratulations anyway on that win and the playoff spot, and we'll see you next week when you go through those best of threes.
Thank you very much.
Quite cool and collective. He's happy about it. You know, I think even though he said there was no pressure on them, I think, in all fairness, they had nothing to gain either. They had no seeding or anything like that. It was just a chilled scrim.
It was a dead match. That's what it was. It means nothing. There's no change. It just means that, well, Exilium, they're not dead last switch. At least we're a little bit more happier about Fluke. RIP for our fallen warriors.
Yeah, they get one win. I'm happy about that.
Yes,
but
indeed. We wanted two. We wanted playoffs.
We wanted to, but hey, it's, you know, we've got our teams for the playoffs. Those are happening very soon. Obviously, the best of three situation is going to be pretty interesting to see how that changes how these teams play. Because yes, this is the first time we're seeing teams like Horus through this in a continually best of one series. how are they when you stretch them? How are they when you put them on a longer kind of microscope or under a longer microscope? At the same time, T3H, Wind and Rain, M&M, these are teams that we've seen a bit more on this kind of stage, so I think it'll be an interesting kind of breakdown.
Yeah, it will be. The playoffs is going to be very interesting, as we just said from there. We've already got our county spots, but let's look at the results from today's matches to find out how things panned out for this evening. And I think from you guys can tell, one of the biggest things is going to be that Na'Vi secret match. Even though there wasn't too much to play for, it was just for that #1 seed, still a bit of a surprise.
It was the match to watch if you were like busy and needed to catch a game really quick.
I kind of feel as if this entire night has kind of been like a bad love story. You know, we kind of had a kind of sad story about Exilium, and then we had the disappointment come in, and then we had the messy breakup with Demise.
Yep.
That's kind of how I see this day fall out.
And then there was something very exciting, which was a 6-6 on Cafe that happened.
Yeah, that
off
was
screen
the wedding night. That was the
watch.
wedding night there before everything else came in.
To watch, so.
Yeah, it's been. Yeah, you are right. You know, you're going to say bad love story or whatever. I thought you were going to say the word weird, because I thought it was a little bit strange in some ways.
I kind of predicted the Na'Vi secret game to be a bit of a washout, because I just knew that both teams just did not care.
Of course you did. Of course you
I
did.
know the teams. I've asked them. Literally, I asked them. I was like, oh, it's whatever.
But let's go to the final standings now of the group stages, and as you can see there, Na'Vi taking that top spot, the #1 seed. Both Na'Vi and Secret will have qualified. We have the playoff spots with M&M, T3H, Horus, and Wind and Rain. Sadly, we will see goodbye to Exilium and Demise. Might make a return. We'll see what happens during that relegation phase. And I think from these standings, the top two, we mentioned it before, not too much of a surprise. They are the gatekeepers, but the playoff spots have been really close up till now.
Yeah,
they have been. I think it kind of shows just how much better the Prem gets every season. I kind of sound like a parrot every season now, talking about, oh, it seems so much better, so much better. Doki said it himself. The competition is at an all-time high. I feel that there's two teams there who could really try and challenge for the Challenger League, that being T4H and M&M. So again, we hopefully will see them try and make some bounds and try and upset hopefully some of the French teams. We always want to see less French teams, more Brits in the CL. But that's a very, very far distance away from there.
But what do you guys think of those next week's match? You saw there it was M&M versus Wind and Rain, I believe.
Yes.
I mean, you've got the other side as well.
Yes.
Those matches are going to be very tight-knit, because even for M&M, they may be a newly established team, considering there used to be who knows in the past, but they really need to show and then put their work in for those Prem finals.
Yeah, this is their second time being inside the playoffs, and could this be the time where they finally break that and get their chance to land?
Well, that's the thing. It's almost like grudge matches in a way, because on the one side you have the two teams that have been promoted from the Prem Promo series battling out, and on the other side you have the two teams that battled it out before, battling it out again. So it's a kind of nice, diverse
rematch
mix.
from last season.
Yeah, it's a nice diverse mix of these two matches of familiarity. Yet obviously they've had an entire season now to grow and change and adapt, and
new players, new faces.
New players, new faces, new exciting games, hopefully.
Yeah, more excitement to come anyways. But if you guys, speaking of excitement, we do have the finals, of course, in July 27th at the venue at the DMU in Leicester. Make sure you get those tickets at esl.im/R6S finals. It was completely sold out last season, even had to get people standing in the end. There is more tickets this time, but don't be too surprised if they get sold out quick. We don't want you disappointed.
Doki's so happy for it. You've seen in his picture. He's so excited. Is he the new poster boy for ESL UK?
Well, to be fair, you're the one who's been talking about
it. I
him
was the poster boy,
He's been talking about him the whole time. Oh, you thought you was the face?
I thought I was.
Oh, well, do you know what? Sadly, you're not, mate. It's actually
That's all right. I'll go join Exilium, don't worry. So.
What, back in relegation?
Yeah, back relegation, so I go.
Right, anyways, guys, final thoughts before the show ends.
Well, what a season. I think that we have seen some ups, a lot of lows. I think that we've seen surprises from teams. I thought Wind and Rain was probably the biggest upset, I think, of the entire season. A team who I kind of pitched would challenge for, even top two. Didn't end up that way. So I think definitely Wind and Rain would be my shock of the season.
Yep, I think it's good that the teams that are fresh to the league have kind of reinvigorated it for me. Obviously, you've got these juggernaut teams that have been playing before, but you look at T3H and look at Horus, especially, who have kind of made a mark saying, we came from Prem Promo last time, and now we're here battling for this land spot. one kind of season in, which is something that happens a lot in Siege. Teams will just, they'll show up and they'll make a mark. We've obviously seen it on the bigger picture with Secret, with Na'Vi. You know, Exilium and Demise unfortunately didn't quite have the same luck, but at the same time, we've got a fresh wave of these promo teams coming, and the scene is only going to get tighter.
Do you know what? New blood, new generation of players coming in. I'm all for it anyway. That's the whole point of the promo series anyway. But thanks, guys, again for being on the desk as per usual. And thanks to you at home as well. Thank you for everyone to actually watch the group stages. We do have the playoffs next week, so make sure you come back for that. And thanks to our sponsors, Intel, Gaming from Curry's PC World, AOC Gaming, and of course, PaySafeCard. And we'll see you next week.
Think she can't get a last-second clutch? Watch this. Think he can't carry his team while streaming in high resolution? All the while recording a once-in-a-lifetime win? Watch this. Think leveling up only happens in-game? Watch this. On Intel Core i7, they'll rise to every challenge. Now it's your turn. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
You ready? Huh? Hey, he's a good boy, huh? You ready? Huh?
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.